Okay, let's get started.
Just raise your glasses high. This one's for
Hey, me.
Riley.
Something about her open today.
I can't believe it.
5:22.
A date we'll never forget.
Will you remember? Do you think if I say it now, will you remember where you were?
Let's get tats.
Something SAH 5:22:24, and then let's say where we were.
Yeah, like the coordinates.
Yeah, like Villa Rosa Shed 5:22:24 SAH. And then what else? A sandwich. What's that called? Sandwich outline.
Okay.
Do you like that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Have you heard the reports of what's going on there?
Mayhem?
Yeah, it's absolute mayhem. We both know this person that's boots on the ground there,
Yeah.
who's outside of the thing. They said that there's like 150 people waiting in line.
Yeah.
They sold out of 3 sandwiches already. The POS system was down. I showed
Right.
you that. So it's
Yeah.
like it's full.
They got a late start.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't wait in line that long for literally anything.
You mean like what, an hour and a half?
No.
Well, didn't we talk about one time? Remember in the early Turtle Time days when you were waiting for a shirt at New Beverly and you cut the line?
Yeah.
So you would never. Yeah, I mean,
I couldn't fucking stand it.
I'm not a line waiter either, and I know I don't. I understand the importance of being there today, but also I don't know if I personally felt compelled. I know you didn't feel compelled to be there on opening day.
I wouldn't wait in a 100-person line, even if inside the offering was a threesome with the boys from Challengers.
Really?
Not more than 2 hours.
Wait, so there's an amount of time you would wait if both those boys, I forget what their names
45
are.
minutes.
Josh O'Connor. What are those boys' names?
Mike Feist.
Mike Feist and
You said it.
Josh O'Connor?
Yeah, you got
Wow,
it.
I have a good memory. Mike Feist and Josh O'Connor. So they say, hey, we're giving out threesomes with us two at the something about her location.
With a wrap included.
Yeah, you get a sandwich and you get to fuck both of us at the same time. The wait, unfortunately, would be 58 minutes. Would you?
Okay. Well, that's still under an hour.
Okay. And then there is a time I am determining that an hour and 20,
If there's wine included as well.
Damn. Wine, a wrap, sex with both of them for an hour and
The wrap
20.
can come after.
I would wait. I don't want to get too gross, but if I was single and
I think Megan would let you.
I'll
pass.
If it was Josh O'Connor and Mike Feist,
I'll talk to her for
okay.
you.
Do you mind if we pause and you ask her now if this hypothetical challengers scenario where I get to have sex with both of those guys that I don't really know too well?
You haven't even seen that movie yet, have you?
No, but you know what? After this, once I'm in a restful period and taking a little bit of time, I saw it's $20 to rent on VOD.
Okay.
If you don't, do you think it's something that I have to see on the big screen?
I mean, it was fun. I would say like the sound is important. Like that's kind of like part of it, but it's fine.
Okay. I just think that it's such a I worry that I'll never see it if I don't see it from the comfort of my home,
Sure.
just given my life and
Sure.
and what is wrong with it right now. You know what I mean?
Sure. I think it is playing at the theater very close to us right now though.
Really?
Like the walking distance one.
Really? Can you
Because that's where the person who lives here saw it.
you can't give me a hint at what that's called because it's too close?
Starts with an R.
An R word movie theater. Okay. I'll think about that. I would love to see. I want to see Challengers, and now not to talk about movies, but I'm really in on. I want to see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes now. I know I was
Everyone's
talking shit
like vibing with the apes.
because I liked the three. I liked the trilogy, the
You
Caesar
did.
trilogy. Dawn,
I haven't seen them.
War. None of them.
None.
Oh,
Not the olds, not the Tim Burton, not the new.
Oh, let's make on our list of Amy and Riley watch movies together. Let's do original Planet of the Apes and then go through the entire franchise. They're
Yeah.
actually good, those
Okay.
three. They make a compelling case for what would happen on Earth for why apes would take over and subjugate humans.
Humans bad.
Humans, unfortunately, we were working on an Alzheimer's drug, and they were testing it on apes, but the Alzheimer's drugs actually worked too well on the genes inside monkeys' brains, and it made them way too intelligent. And then, unfortunately, also a virus got loose from a lab. I don't think they're related.
I've seen that before.
Yeah. What do you mean? Oh,
here on Earth.
are you talking about COVID?
I don't want to get political.
No, we never do. But you're right. Yeah, unfortunately, we're way too familiar with that happening. And it's unfortunately a human disease that they got 99% of humans.
The apes are good.
Apes are
unaffected,
and at the same time, the worst coincidence in the world for humans, apes got really smart and they're not affected by the.
Wow, a double whammy.
Yeah, it's bad for humans, but then people like Gary Oldman and stuff survive. Not everyone is affected by that.
Okay. I keep hearing again and again that they're low-key good.
They are.
And
okay.
It's a hard threshold for me to cross because I really did not have prior interest. But I'm considering it.
Do you know the main quote from Planet of the Apes 1, the first one?
What is it?
Get your filthy hands off me, you damn dirty ape.
Yeah.
That's what Charlton Heston said.
I only know the Simpsons musical version.
Yeah, Dr. Zaius.
Dr. Zaius.
Yeah. It's they're better than they should be. You know, they did a good job. And I think I see now for some reason on TikTok, they know I've got apes fever. And so they're
Did you see that guy's PowerPoint?
Of like the mythology of it?
Yeah, some husband on TikTok made a PowerPoint explaining like everything you need to know to see the new one or whatever.
Okay, yeah, I kind of know. I know the gist, but I'm excited for that, and then I'll see challengers for sure. What were we talking about before? Just possibly having sex with
right.
Those...
Wouldn't wait in a line. Wouldn't wait in a line for apes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope. Opening day is always rough. Hopefully they get it together.
I think that, in my opinion, which I don't know if anybody cares, my opinion, I think that they should have known that there would be such a fervor for people who are so hungry for sandwiches and want to capitalize on Ariana and Katie's beautiful momentum, that there would be fandom out there, wrapping around the block.
Yeah.
And I think that they should have made the first 2 weeks or a month more of the soft launch, and you could still classify it as open.
Grab and go or something.
Grab and go, or even do RSVP for the first 3 weeks and just be like, let's take care of the fans who are absolutely not, I won't say deranged, but like that want to really, really capitalize on this moment. We'll because they need to know the supply and demand, and of course so many things can go wrong.
Sure.
At the very first, it's like there's way too many people to try out your restaurant, I think, today for all these issues to be happening. So I think it should have been more of a soft launch for maybe the first month, and then work out all the kinks, and then let like you and I sort of just gracefully enter there once everything is ready for us.
Yeah. I do have to say I was a little surprised that many people still wanted to line up after the Instagram stories of the people that went last week, because the sandwiches and the wraps, I'm going to say, look a little measly to me.
Wow. I didn't know you'd say it.
Cross the threshold.
I'll
lie on the cross.
Really? When you
maybe that's just the sample platter they put out for the soft launch or whatever.
I think that was for like Lindsay Hubbard and Stassi and Andy Cohen.
But wouldn't you want the sandwiches
bigger?
To look better than expected? Like, because that's the very first thing that people are seeing after 2 years of waiting. You want to do like a prop stylist version where you like spritz the lettuce with water.
I think the opposite. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Those people coming in, they are not paying, so you give them 25% of the sandwich. Uncrustables. I even if I was trying to be a stinker, I just wouldn't have high expectations for sandwiches no matter what. I've never seen.
You don't even like sandwiches.
Yeah, I know.
That's why.
So you have sandwich eyes. Right?
Hungry eyes.
No. You like sandwiches more than me. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
So you have a better discernment.
Yeah, you guys, Riley thinks that Jersey Mike's is shit.
Oh, I I think Jersey Mike's is one of the worst foods
That's
I've ever
like
had.
literally insane.
Their bread is
the
shit.
quality rocks.
Their bread is shit.
Oh my god.
Their bread is soggy shit.
Unbelievable.
I hate how their sandwiches taste. I hate Subway.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, Jersey Mike's. I know you sponsor us, but no, I just don't. I like All About the Bread. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
All About the Bread.
Local chain.
Local
Well,
chain in Los
isn't
Angeles.
even a chain, it's just one.
I shouldn't even speak of them on the same episode that we're talking about something about her. I'm not trying to like derail people, but the bread at All About the Bread, you have to say that's phenomenal. I mean,
It's good.
I think wait, you don't think All About the
No,
Bread
it's good.
Oh, so I think bread for me is make it or break it because everything else in a sandwich is pretty routine.
Okay. I wonder where they get their bread from. Does it say
All About the Bread.
something about her?
They
Their
probably
flowery statement didn't
say where they
say
get
where their bread was
bread
from.
Did you read the full statement?
Should we read it?
Sure, let's read a little bit of it.
Should we switch off because it's like 10 paragraphs?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay.
It was kind of like, will you tee it up because I'm going to look for it for a second. I think that they should have had. I was thinking they should have had Nancy Meyers there.
That's true.
Don't you think that she would have done it if it's a fully Nancy Meyers inspired restaurant?
I mean, I would have gone then maybe.
Oh, where is there? Oh,
I just aired. Oh, was that to your computer?
yeah,
Your phone?
that's okay. I got it.
No, okay.
Okay, you read. Let's read paragraph by paragraph.
Okay. Well, first it says, "Dear beloved patrons, we write to you with hearts full of gratitude and excitement for the journey we've embarked upon together. As the co-founders of our cherished sanctuary, we couldn't be more thrilled to express our deepest thanks."
Our story began with a shared dream. A dream to create a space that not only nourishes the body, but also uplifts the spirit. As two passionate women seeking empowerment and connection, we envisioned a haven where design and taste intertwine to celebrate femininity and creativity.
In those early days, we might have been slightly delusional, dreaming of romantic lunches and whispered conversations that wove stories of empowerment and resilience. We wanted this space to be more than a sandwich shop. We wanted it to be a sanctuary, a place where every corner exuded inspiration and every bite spoke of possibility.
Each recipe, each ingredient, a labor of love. We wanted our sandwiches to evoke nostalgia, to spark joy with every bite, because we believe that food isn't just sustenance, it's a form of connection, a way to celebrate life's simple pleasures.
But none of this would be possible without you, our dear patrons. Your support, your smiles, your shared moments of laughter and reflection, they fuel our passion and remind us why we embarked on this journey in the first place.
So thank you for embracing our dream, for making our vision a reality, and for being part of this beautiful community we've built together. We look forward to many more lunches filled with laughter, inspiration, and perhaps a touch of delightful delusion about the magic of life. With all of our love and gratitude, Katie and Ariana, co-founders of Something About Her. Is that worth reading?
Oh my God. Whatever. I don't want to be a bitch. It's just wild.
Wait, why?
It's sandwiches. It's sandwiches.
Okay, well, I think that people, because I was, okay, all right, okay. I'm not going to be mean. But I do think, I don't know, I heard reports that there is more crying going on at Something About Her than anywhere else in the city right now. People are bawling, crying, going into Something About Her, and I don't know how love for Katie and Ariana translated to fervent, powerful crying joy at Something About Her opening.
Do you want to know my theory? I think they opened ChatGPT. They said, can you write a version of the Nicole Kidman AMC thing, but about a sandwich shop for women?
You think this is given Chat GPT?
I don't. Do you think that ChatGPT would use the same words that many times?
I only heard sanctuary twice when we were reading it again. Oh, and
there's potentially like 5 words that are used more than once.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Which isn't that like the first thing you do when you write something where you go, oop, can't use that again.
Right. You would take out the 2 sanctuaries. Well, I don't know. I mean, is this I feel like, I guess it's just a little over. What's the right word?
Over the top?
I guess it's a little over the top. It's like I just think that it's really, I'm so supportive of the vision and dream and all about it. And obviously of Katie and Ariana, I find them to be, amazing cast members on Vanderpump Rules. But it's translated into something that I feel like I can't even appreciate anymore because I don't understand what the hell,
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's kind of strange. It's just like, first and foremost, like, I understand that part of what's important to them is the environment. So they wanted to create some sort of a safe space, which is a place that you go eat sandwiches.
Wedged in between Tom and
and Sir. But like, I'm curious how it's going to roll out because I assume it's going to become a tourist hotspot because that's why they put it on that block.
Yeah,
because
to capitalize
people,
on
when they come to town, they visit 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
which is smart.
Yeah, of course.
But it's like, are you going to be able to like chill there with a glass of wine, or are you just going to be like waiting in line and having to take your sandwich and then eat it on the curb outside of Sir?
Right. Exactly. I think that something about this juxtaposition of this being a sandwich shop and the passionate love for it is there's something a disconnect there. Ultimately, though, when you are doing the crawl, Vanderpump crawl, and if it's not packed to the gills with fans, it would be nice to just have a glass of wine and eat a good sandwich potentially on that strip, right?
What are their hours?
11 to 6, I'm guessing. 10 to 4, Wednesday through Sunday.
Okay.
Which that's standard to have Monday and Tuesday off. Was that too? I don't have any negative feelings towards something about her. Was that too mean?
All we did was read it.
Okay. All right. Well, I just think that I'm supportive of them. But I don't understand. How passionate the response is. But maybe if Little Turtle Cuties and Villa Rosa VIPs understand why there's crying.
Yeah.
I would just like to know, because I've read 2 articles where it said people had tears streaming down their eyes as they entered something about her. I don't know where it got to that level. Just so happy that they opened.
Yeah. I think the entire Scandival has melded into people's personal trauma.
Yes.
And we saw that at BravoCon when Sandoval was getting like shit slung at him and like everyone was just like going absolutely insane.
We never talked about the fan that took a shit in their hand and threw it at Sandoval. Why didn't we ever say that on the Patreon or any of the other stuff?
It was too upsetting.
No, you hit the nail on the head there. Scandival was so big that it like overpowered even the Bravo, like the tongue-in-cheek Bravo fandom, and it turned it into something more than we're not used to in Bravo culture.
And I think it broke the psyche of the viewer, but that has continued into like Summer House and like the way people react to Carl and Lindsay, and like it's all become like very, I feel like everyone's like very triggered by everything.
Yeah, and there's more, like we talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago, there's more opinions that we have access to, and people are very, like I said, fervent with what they want. Like I see so much commentary now about these shows, and I feel like because we are all like week by week dissecting this stuff, like you see the gamut of all possible reactions to everything.
It's a lot.
But I want to make the last word on something about her is that, like, no matter what, I am so excited that it's open, and I will eat a sandwich someday for sure. You and I will go in there, eat a sandwich, possibly drink a Loverboy, have the time of our lives, but probably in a month or 2 months.
Yeah,
whenever we're around there.
Yeah, I would love to have a great sandwich.
And I know that you're holding out. I can see it when I look at you. You're holding out hope that it's really good.
Yeah.
Was that okay? 19 minutes of that. Was it too long to read that thing? I mean, we can keep it in, right?
We're not cutting it out.
All right. Okay. People will just hear you and I reading something about her launch mission statement.
It's really, I mean, they did one time they did a TikTok with the Nicole Kidman sound, and I really think that was their inspiration.
Like and the Nicole Kidman, everyone's familiar with this, but it's like adding a lot of passionate emotion towards something sort of mundane. And that's kind of a perfect example.
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman was like, I cry the minute I walk into a theater because of the power of cinema. And she's watching like Avatar 1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
La La Land and Wonder Woman.
Right. Wonder Woman. Nicole Kidman sat down and watched Wonder Woman for 5 seconds and, started
Creed,
talking
I
about
think.
Huh?
Creed also.
She was watching Creed in there?
I think that's one of them.
Yeah, that's probably the perfect example. It's like the reason why people responded to that is because it's almost kind of silly.
Yeah.
To have, right?
Yeah, people still clap for that shit. Can you believe it?
I never liked it. I never enjoyed that ad. And because I hate irony.
Mm.
I hate irony.
It was like she was giving the cat that ate the canary.
Who? Nicole
Kidman?
Kidman? No, I hate ironic clapping and laughter. Like, all of us are in the know. We know this is ridiculous, so we clap and cheer. Like, I hate, I hate that type of humor.
I see.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of horrible humor, I told you this right before recording, but I had time because I no longer have employment. I wrote a little bit more of reality of a scandal.
I can't wait.
Are you really excited?
I've been waiting with breath that is bated.
Bated breath for this script that I'm writing? The dream is when I write a few more pages, your sort of writer brain is going to spark and you're going to want to go on a retreat with me and start I was going to say a word that is not appropriate, but start writing this thing with me.
Were you going to say bang this out?
Yeah, I want to go to a writer's retreat, but have, write stuff together. So anyway, where we left off, I don't know if even you remember. You and I have a magical force called the Shimmer that lets us telecommunicate with each other. Cedric lives in the sewers of a chud tunnel. He is our father.
Right.
He's been cast aside from Lisa and Ken's estate. They have no idea where he is. He's been living in a chud tunnel. You and I are his prodigy. And also we have Turtle Time, and we're reporting on the early stages of Scandival, but we don't know that that's happening yet. Sandoval and Rachel just had their first tryst in the pool. And we're sort of piecing it together. And then where we last left off is that you and I got from the Chud Tunnel, and we found out that there's a Chud Tunnel that leads right to Sir. And we just popped our heads out of the bathroom at Sir, and we're just sitting down to have a drink.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay, and then our server was Rachel Levis. So she goes to get our drinks, and that's where we are right now. So
Okay.
Rachel says, by the way, after trying your margarita recipe, I told Lisa that they should be the official Sir Margarita, and she said yes. You're really changing things around here. Amy, well, hopefully not too much change. Rachel smiles and then gets somber. No, not too much change. We wouldn't want that. And then she walks away. Okay. Then Peter comes to the table, okay?
Oh, wow.
He's interrupting the melancholy because we thought that things might be changing because Rachel had that kind of somber look on her face. But then Peter comes over. The mood immediately changes. He goes, your margaritas will be here in just a second. We're making a new mix so you don't have to drink the ones for normal customers. Amy, you know how much we appreciate that. Peter, also, thanks for the write-up you did in the Turtle Time Gazette for my short film. Riley, there's no need to thank us. We would have reviewed it favorably even if you didn't serve us the best margaritas we've ever had in our lives. Peter, sure you would have. Peter laughs his classic laugh. Peter, beaming. Do you both have plans in January? I was thinking of going to Utah. Amy, you're kidding. Riley, oh my God, congrats, Peter. Sundance? Peter, yes, the Raven Destiny is going to be premiering there. Rachel is back holding Amy and Riley's perfect-looking margaritas. Rachel, you told them? Peter, they're still stunned. Riley, get over here, both of you. Riley overturns the water cups and pours some of the margarita into both glasses. Riley, let's have a toast. Rachel, sarcastically, but we can't drink at work. Everyone laughs. Amy, to Peter, may the sun dance upon him. Peter, and all of my friends. They cheers. Amy, when you guys are off, why don't we celebrate at the Abbey? Peter, well, just like Emperor Raven says to Commander Krennic at the end of my film, that's an affirmative, Earthling. They all laugh again. Riley, can life get any better? Peter, I don't think so. I'm going to invite Sandoval too so he can celebrate with us. Rachel sips the swig of her margarita and has a look of concern on her face, but no one notices it. Amy and Riley, hell yeah. So that's
my
just well.
gosh.
So there's a little more, but I just wanted to the
I
Raven.
see where this is going.
You do. Okay, good. All right. Okay. All right. Interior, the Abbey, night. Be My Lover by LaBouche is blasting, and everyone at the Abbey is enraptured with the party spirit. Do you know that song?
So good.
Amy, Riley, Peter, and Rachel have a booth near the back. Laser lights and disco beams are flashing on their faces as they drink from the various bottles on their table. A few LA notables, Jacob the lawyer, Rick Rubin, Ed Begley Jr., etc., pay homage to the booth. Rachel tries to talk to Amy, but she's interrupted. Perfectly timed to the song, Tom Sandoval enters the Abbey playing the trumpet. The crowd parts for him and everyone cheers and claps. Tom Sandoval, Commander Krennic reporting for duty, sir. Peter, I couldn't have done it without you, Krennic. To peace in the Empire. Peter hands Tom a shot and they both down it together. Tom looks over at Rachel and nods at her. She looks down, suddenly uncomfortable. While everyone is partying and distracted, Chaz Dean walks by the booth and grabs a beer off the table. Riley sees Chaz out of the corner of his eye and sees the beer he took. Riley, Chaz Dean just took a beer off our table. That was Rachel's. Tom Sandoval, I'll get it back. From afar, we see Tom Sandoval approach Chaz Dean and a crowd of dancing people and gesture for the beer back. Chaz Dean lifts the beer bottle over his head and threatens to smash it on Tom Sandoval's head. Tom Sandoval remains calm as Chaz Dean rushes toward him. Chaz Dean tries to smash the bottle on Sandoval's head, but Sandoval, with both arms behind his back, ducks out of the way. Sandoval disarms him with a quick move and the beer bottle goes flying in the air. Sandoval catches it and then does an elegant kick to Chaz Dean's chest. Chaz Dean lands on his ass in the middle of the dance floor and everyone laughs at him. Chaz's two friends grab him up by his armpits and slide him away. Sandoval walks back to the group, beer in hand. He brings the beer bottle down on the table's edge and hits the cap off perfectly. He then hands it to Rachel. Rachel beams at him but then blushes. Let me just stop for 1 second.
Oh my God.
So Chaz Dean...
You know he has a history with Bravo.
What is it?
He was on Flipping Out.
He
was
was?
reoccurring.
Is he fun on it?
Yeah.
Is he the kind of guy that would steal a beer off a table?
Maybe.
Okay. And that was sort of, just so you know, that was sort of Roadhouse inspired.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sandoval, okay, I'm going to keep going. This is the final stretch. Okay. Rachel beams at him because he got her beer back and then blushes. Riley, God damn, Sandoval, I think it will be a long time before Chaz Dean tries to steal beers from our table again. Sandoval smiles but doesn't say anything. He's clearly not himself. Amy, hey Sandoval, where's Ariana? Sandoval, she's not feeling well. Riley, Tom, we know when you're lying. We can read you like a book. Sandoval, I don't want to bum you guys out. Amy, tell us, Tom. Sandoval, she doesn't fuck with you guys anymore. Riley, why? What happened? Sandoval, it was the Turtle Time Patreon. It was a little too unfiltered. Amy, Turtle Time is objective. She knows that. We can't let how much we love someone affect our commentary. Sandoval, I know. I told her, but she wants nothing to do with you both anymore. We've fought about it, among other things. Amy, have things been rough between you both? Sandoval, off the record, we're not doing good. Amy and Riley exchange a journalistic glance similar to Woodward and Bernstein. Sandoval, but on the record, I'm ready to take another shot. Sandoval grabs 3 shots and hands 2 to Amy and Riley. They all take a shot and Sandoval smiles discreetly as he sees Amy and Riley enter a new stage of drunkenness.
Oh my God. That's your worst nightmare ever, that Ariana would be mad at us from our Patreon.
I'm worried about Ariana being mad at us now for something about her thing. Yeah.
We'll see. I don't think she'll make it 22 minutes in, but
No, for sure not. And we said good things about something about her.
Has Ariana made an appearance in the story yet physically?
Yeah, so there's clues. People will say, like, why are you making Sandoval look good potentially? But I swear, when you and I go to the Hearst Castle and write the rest of this, there are clues that Sandoval is not telling the truth to us to sort of get us on his side to possibly report on it so there's more validation for Rachel to make more moves. You and I are actually sort of being co-opted by Sandoval to make it seem more like the relationship is in disrepair so that Rachel feels more affirmed to cheat. But no, in the very first scene, I'm glad you asked, Ariana is still listening to Turtle Time because she's listening to her favorite podcast and laughing at it.
I remember.
All right.
Was the sci-fi references true to the movie that they show us?
Commander Krennic is, I think, Tom Sandoval's name in the Raven Destiny. And yeah, I looked up the IMDb and everything, and I wanted to make it seem like you and I had this rapport with Peter, and we got that into Sundance.
Can you watch that somewhere?
I looked it up for 1 second while I was writing this and then forgot to find it. But
It's
I would
probably
pay
on Vimeo or something.
I would pay $5 or $10 to watch it. I mean,
We should do a screening.
yeah, the effects. Oh, let's do it. Let's maybe one of the days you're here, let's watch it and just talk about it.
Yeah, we should.
Okay. How do you feel about the reality of Scandal so far?
It's good. So is this Abby night supposed to be tied in with the night that Allie observed?
No, so we're in the, I would say, like September, October timeline before Scandal happened in March. We're still a few months before that, but I'm starting the Abby like ethos to enter the scripts. That this is something that we do a lot, and you know for a fact, if I'm writing this script and you are too, we're gonna be there the night that Allie sees something.
Is this gonna be like Dune 1 and Dune 2? Like, is it gonna be multi-part?
I was thinking 100 and what's a typical screenplay? I was thinking 95 pages.
Okay.
I was thinking like I have the end. I'm gonna save it for the Villa Rosa VIPs. You know, we'll compile this and maybe put it out as one full episode of the entire script. Maybe you will read it with me.
Okay.
But I have a twist ending that I think is gonna blow your mind.
Okay. I like it. I'm
Okay,
excited.
good. All right, good. Okay, let's take. We talked about everything in the world. Oh, I went to Jax's Studio City last night.
How was it?
I
heard
say
everybody was there.
yeah. So Brittany was there. Kristen was there, Zach was there, and Nia was there, and they were all holding court. Everyone was encircling them, wanting to take photos, which makes sense. They're in the center of Jax's Studio City, so they were obviously the center of the sun there. Everyone's taking photos, and it was a good watch party, except that they are trying to make it seem like Jax's Studio City is packed to the rafters, so they made everyone have a reserved table. Like, no one could be just standing around doing the watch party. Like at Schwartz and Sandy's or even at, other bars, like you don't have to sit. They wanted everybody like seated and no movement at all to be watching it. So it kind of made for a stilted watch party.
Right.
Do you remember when we had the most epic watch parties in LA history for last season?
Yeah.
We had the wild, chaotic, fun atmosphere. It was nothing like that.
Okay. That's a bummer.
So it was a bummer, but still, there's a bunch of TVs. The energy was fine, and then the fact that all of those Valley cast members, Kristen and Zach and everybody, I was still pretty stoked to see everybody. So it was an overall fun experience.
Was it just watching the Valley?
No, they put on
Vanderpump too?
Vanderpump and the Valley.
Okay.
And then this is disrespectful, but the minute that Summer House came on, they left it on the TVs, but they just blasted the music.
Oh, damn. How many episodes is the Valley going to be?
I think it's going to be.
It's already been 10.
Yeah, I can't imagine it going 16 for something in its first season, but it doesn't seem anywhere close to the finale. So
Right.
I would
Like
say
they're doing 3 episodes of Big Bear.
yeah, I would say maybe in the 13 to 16 range.
Okay. And no reunion.
No reunion. Did you hear Jesse Lally on Watch What Happens Live?
Yeah.
He goes, if we were getting a goddamn reunion, Andy, I might be able to clarify things a little more.
Yeah, he was like, sounds like that's not happening.
He was that was a pretty bad episode of Watch What Happens Live.
Sucked.
I watched it right before you came here, and I said to no one listening, I said, this is why I get secondhand embarrassment watching Watch What Happens Live. Because when
that
it's
was a bad example for you.
when it's bad, it's bad. And the opposite end was the Lisa and Gordon Ramsay.
That was the best shit I've ever seen.
Yeah, so it's like there is such a range
Yeah.
of quality of Watch What Happens Live, and you could tell Andy was so bummed out that this was his episode.
Yeah.
With Jesse and Michelle Buteau.
Yeah. No, they needed like one or the other. Like she should have been paired with someone else and he should have been paired with
And I
someone
felt
else.
like she had to turn up the humor level almost to a degree to where it was bordering on hammy.
Yeah.
How much she had to overcompensate for Jesse. And I thought that Jesse was not as bad as you would think, but he also just wasn't fun and he wasn't quick.
Right. I know. I'm trying to think of who it would have been good to match him with, but it was bad.
It should have been Jax and Jesse because Jax is tried and true. He would take the brunt of the ire. He would be the more charismatic, and then Jesse would feed off a friend that he has right next to him, and they have a lot of the Valley to talk about. This was the worst case scenario for a matchup.
It was bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, wow, we just left people with that. You want to take a certified turtle piss? I'm going to collect my thoughts, think about what we've done.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about Vanderpump Rules, the Valley, and then finally, last but certainly not least, Summer House. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. We're back.
Hey.
Freshly pissed.
Yeah, while you were pissing, I asked ChatGPT. I said, "Can you write a welcome message for a woman-run sandwich shop in the style of Nicole Kidman's AMC ad?" And this is, do you want to hear what it said?
I would love to.
It said, I'm going to include something about her just so that it is fully rounded.
Yeah, of course.
Welcome to Something About Her, where every bite is a taste of pure delight. Step into a world where flavor reigns supreme, crafted with passion and finesse by our incredible team of culinary artisans. From classic favorites to innovative creations, each sandwich is a masterpiece, curated just for you. Come experience the extraordinary at Something About Her, where every moment is a delicious adventure.
Yeah, that's good. It makes me.
They didn't really run with the female owned.
Yeah.
They kind of suppressed that. I would, if I asked again, I would say,
Did you
lean
say,
in.
Did you say woman ran?
Yeah.
So I think you. Yeah. I mean, no notes, but you could have said a sandwich shop, female owned sandwich shop which core values is female empowerment. You know.
Include the word sanctuary and
haven.
Empowerment.
Yeah. And you know what I was thinking? While I was taking a certified turtle piss break, I was so worried that there was going to be, negative reaction to us, being not so fervent towards Something About Her. But I realized, no, they don't listen to Turtle Time. And none of our little turtle cuties or Villa Rosa VIPs would ever rat us out and share that with anyone. No, they never would.
We didn't do anything wrong.
I know you're always
We're being cheeky.
You're always cool and chill, and I'm always anxious, nervous, and scared.
It's our yin yang.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to ask you, just before we get into Vanderpump Rules, the reunion hour 2, as they call it now, reunion hour 2. How'd you feel about this installment of the season 11 reunion?
I mean, we'll see what part 3 holds, but I feel like maybe it could have been 2 parts.
I think so too. This felt the most laden with potential filler on the chopping block of the edit, a little bit.
Yeah, like some parts just went on, and I was like, I'm over this. Can we move on? Like, we're not getting anywhere.
Yeah, and most of the extended cut, which I did watch.
Yeah, me too.
I got why that wasn't in. It didn't really add too much. You could tell, like, it's very clear why they made those cuts.
Right. The only thing I think that stands out to me was that we got an update on Schwartz's brother, Bert, which I think melded nicely into the sobriety conversation. Like, I think that could have stayed.
Yes.
But almost everything else was just things were a little bit longer and we didn't get very much more.
Yeah. So maybe we'll, we were pretty diligent, I'd say, last week, but maybe this is more carefree because it wasn't so essential, I don't think.
No.
But, we'll just talk about the highlights and what really, stood out to us overall, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything that you thought? Oh, okay. I will say, I did, the Lala and Katie thing we got the tail end of that, which is, we talked about this last week, but Lala is accusing Katie of being fake as hell about not saying her true, hateful, resentful feelings about Ariana and her success. And then I kind of last week, I still retain this opinion, which is that I think Katie got over those feelings and didn't want to make them a part of her storyline.
Yeah.
And I sort of believe Katie when she says, if I wanted to say something like that on camera, I feel fully comfortable doing that because that's what I know of Katie. I think I agree with that.
Yeah. A lot of people were bringing up online that all the Broadway shit happened after filming.
Yeah. I saw that too. And it's like, yeah, what are you talking about?
So it's like that, I think, was probably the main thing.
Yeah. And it's just, I believe in the authenticity of Katie. Ariana says it well. She's like, Katie has been fine being authentic for 11 seasons, even when fans absolutely despised her for her opinions. And that's true.
Yeah.
We cannot discount that up until I would say season 8, a lot of people just absolutely couldn't stand Katie. And now there's a Katie renaissance.
Right. I know. She's like, literally everyone hates her guts.
Yeah. Then did you? There was a little moment where the Schwartz asked a question of Sheena, and it wasn't really captured.
Yeah.
But it was like Schwartz goes, Sheena, I don't know why he treated it like you can just ask questions that are like not on camera.
Right.
But he was like, Sheena, did Lala or did Katie start to get resentful of Lala for getting close to you because she hates you so much? And Sheena goes, yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. And then Brock, this was crazy. He was like, well, you took every ounce of confidence that woman ever had. And then Sheena's like, yeah, you were a shitty husband. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, he goes, he was really, Brock is, he's been eloquent before, but I felt like he was really eloquent. Like he dialed into something he wanted to say, like off the cuff. He said, you're also the catalyst because you tore away all the confidence that woman has ever had in herself. And he goes, what? And he goes,
but Brock is like laughing while he says it, while he's like eviscerating
yeah, and he
him.
goes, after the continual betrayal of your actual marriage. And then Sheena translates, you were a shitty husband. He goes, no, I wasn't.
It was weird. It was like they agreed to say that or something, and they just like shoehorned it in. It was very weird.
But why doesn't Schwartz? One thing to comment on is why doesn't Schwartz acknowledge that he was probably overall a shitty husband?
He has said that. I think he was just like, what the hell?
Taken it back that he got the scorn for a second on a seemingly innocuous question that he was asking.
It was truly out of nowhere.
Yeah,
it was kind of weird.
Yeah, but I mean, the point was made. I mean, the point stands. I mean, there is some truth to that, right?
Sure. The whole thing was just a little confusing to me because, like you said, the setup between Schwartz and Sheena was confusing. And then I was like, wait, what are they talking about? Which I feel like happened multiple times in this reunion part 2 in general, where I was like the whole Lala and Ariana conversation where they were talking about like my boundaries, you understanding them versus respecting them. Like my brain was like, I can't handle this. And then the Joe stuff, like everyone was just talking at once. And I was like, I feel like multiple times my brain was like, this is annoying.
Yeah. Joe, I felt that with Joe too. She was like treating it like, because she doesn't know what a reunion is. She's never been on one before, but she was having a lot of like side commentary and asking a bunch of questions and like interrupting people. I was like, Joe, I know this is
she
you're
was
new,
like,
but
I feel like I'm on planet Mars right now.
yeah, but it didn't make sense. Then next, I thought the Sheena and Schwartz kiss. I don't know if you found merit to that.
Yeah,
I still think it's a little odd to me that like this didn't. I don't know. This wasn't capitalized a little more this season, that it kind of just came and went, almost like the Tory thing where they almost don't even want to acknowledge it.
That was only included in the extended, wasn't it?
Yeah. They don't like, they thought that Tory thing, I mean, talk about a flop. It's not even, it's only included in the extended edition of part 2 of the reunion.
And that was like their whole trailer. It was like that and the guy throwing the drink, which like also wasn't included in the final cut.
Yeah, and the Sheena and Schwartz kiss.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember going into this being like, whoa, the levels of toxic relationships, of inner dating with this group is like at an unseen level. And then they're kind of treating it like, what the hell happened there?
Yeah.
And it's like,
I mean, Katie wasn't fired up about it, and I feel like she's the only one it would matter to. But the thing I wanted to, I guess, because we're watching the early stage of Ariana and Tom's relationship on Patreon, and Sheena is like, she said that they were all in Vegas for her little sister's high school cheer competition, that Ariana came with her, and then the Toms came because Sandoval and Ariana had just started talking. And I was like, when was that?
Yeah.
This was 2014, which I'm sure aligns with the season, but I was like, what does starting talking mean?
Oh, like when? Oh, right, because. Oh yeah, right. I think she's using oblique language to.
She just want to fuck up the timeline.
Yes, because in our minds, Ariana and Tom knew each other. They were very good friends. They only kissed, brushed lips once.
I'm wearing my Kristen Doty t-shirt today. I'm like, what did you guys do and when?
Yeah, right. Okay. Oh, I didn't even think about it like that, because I take for granted that they definitely cheated in the early stages of the relationship, and they've just been like keeping it under wraps. But I mean, I guess knowing more details about this, I still wanted more details.
Yeah.
Ariana and Ariana and Sheena were making out in the center of like a club or like the Golden Nugget or something.
Yeah.
And then Schwartz said, "Why can't I kiss like that?" Or he instantly got horny and wanted to be in on it.
Yeah.
And then was Ariana there? Has she been hiding this secret? 'Cause-
Right. She acted like she didn't know.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But the story, and then Sheena added more details. She was like, I told you to go up to your hotel room. Like, we have to stop this immediately. And then, at the end of it, Sheena's like, to Katie, she's like, do you understand, like, why I never told you? Because you hated me so much right then. And I was just thinking, like, it's not really an excuse for why you didn't tell Katie ever, just because you knew that she would get really, really mad, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, think about, like, at that stage, I mean, they use the clip of Katie calling her a whore, and, like, she really didn't like her at all. So I feel like Sheena at that point didn't owe her any favors. Maybe years later, when they eventually were a little closer, she could be like, oh, by the way, but she probably just, like, cast it aside.
Yeah, but wouldn't it have been like a huge like storyline win and also brave of Sheena if she went up to her biggest hater and said, just so you know, your boyfriend sloppily tried to kiss me at the Golden Nugget and I said absolutely not. I mean, I know Katie
Yeah,
would
except
be
she wants to be one of the boys, and that would fuck over Schwartz.
Yeah. I was just like, I don't really understand. I don't understand Sheena saying, obviously, Katie, do you know why I never told you? Because the brave and right thing to do would have been to tell Katie, because that really would have affected Katie's overall relationship with Schwartz and could have been
Would
the
it?
determining. Well, we talked about this. She should have used it as criteria to judge the future of the relationship, at least.
I mean, she had like 10 other examples of him making out with girls, both before they got
Okay.
married and after.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah. Okay. I mean, I guess, yeah.
That's the thing that, like, if he had never displayed that behavior before and Sheena was like, holy shit, we didn't know he was capable of this, I have to tell her that that's how he is. But he, like, always did that.
Don't you think Sheena would have been too much for Katie, because it has to be on the show? It's with another cast member. She has to confront it in real time and,
Well,
and be
maybe it
surprised
was
by it.
Kinder to keep it off the show.
Kinder to keep it off the show and never tell her.
Yeah.
Kinder to
She nipped it in the bud.
yeah, but I mean, I can't believe we didn't know this.
It's a
I guess
moral
is my
ethical quandary for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I find the moral of it to be, in my opinion, that Sheena should have told Katie.
Okay.
And I can't see the reality where I
It
only
would have
can see.
been a little bit of a self afflicted wound, because I feel like Katie would immediately be like,
You
get the fuck out of here.
you must have like done the come hither finger at him
Yeah.
and brushed his lips against yours. Like
Whore.
she would yeah. All right, well, I guess they don't really care about it very much, and it's
Yeah,
sort of
Katie
just like,
didn't seem to
So-
really want to get into
so
it.
why do I care about it? I only care about how like it adds to the history of Vanderpump Rules. And I
Right.
can't believe it's a detail that we never knew until now.
Right. Well, then she had more to say, because Andy goes, well, Sheena, you said that every single guy here has hit on you. And she's like, yep, James behind the DJ booth at CERN. He goes, huh?
She said James around season 4 or season 5 was drunk as hell behind the DJ booth at Sir, and he goes, "Hey Sheena, why don't we go in the back room and fuck each other?"
I mean, probably.
I know.
Why is he even surprised?
No, I know. I knew when Sheena said that she was going to have proof of all of these instances. And then she goes, and also Tom Sandoval. And Tom goes, yeah, right. He goes,
That's so
"No."
sad that, like, every guy that, like, you're like, you tried to fuck me, they're all like, absolutely not. That's disgusting. I would never do that.
But James didn't. James just doesn't remember that it happened. Like
Sure.
I find all of these instances to be very believable. The
Oh, yeah.
Sandoval one was shocking.
Yeah. I was just thinking about how, yeah, she said they were in New York for Watch What Happens Live. And I'm like, imagine how much fucking fun they had when they were just like broke ass waiters and bartenders, and they got flown to New York on Bravo's dime and just got to rage
And-
in their hotel room. And,
Yeah,
like,
and
fuck
Andy
around.
calls him and says, "Guess what? You have access to the full mini bar."
Yeah.
They were started screaming, and then she said that Sandoval, it was in the doldrums of the Kristen relationship, and he goes, "Me and Kristen aren't having sex very much anymore
Yeah.
at all." And Sheena took it to mean, "I wish you would have sex with me right now in my hotel room." And now, I wouldn't have believed that maybe 2 seasons ago about Sandoval.
Yeah.
But I believe it now. I mean, why
Yeah.
wouldn't you believe that Sandoval might want, if he was just alone in a hotel room with Sheena, that he might want to have sex with her while he was in a relationship with Kristen?
Yeah, it's possible.
You don't think it's
I just
true?
don't really get that vibe between them. Like,
That Sandoval wouldn't have sex? I mean, would you have thought that Schwartz wanted to have sex with Sheena?
that's true. But yeah, then we don't really get much more than that because then Lisa goes, "Did you wear a condom?"
Yeah. They go, how was the sex? And I don't know if I should say this fully, but Sandoval says, well, I woke up with lockjaw, and then I shit out a condom 2 weeks later.
Is that from something? Where did he come up with that?
Yeah, it's from a movie.
What movie?
The
The Hangover.
It must be. It must be from a
I meant to
raunchy-
look it up, but I didn't.
Yeah, I know what it means, but I don't think
I mean,
there is much
he,
value.
like, accusing Sheena of being a big daddy,
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
Yeah, I don't know if
I
we
mean,
should-
Andy loved it.
Andy guffawed.
And then Lisa's like, "What did he say?" And
And he
Andy goes, "You don't want to know."
Yep. And then we got a little more of, in addition to, so I like the reunion for any time it adds to the richness of Vanderpump Rules, which I already
Yeah.
said. And then we learn even more that Max and Katie have made love more times than just the one drunken
she
time that
couldn't
she talked
deny it for a single second. She didn't think anyone was going to ask that.
she seemed taken aback by it. Does that mean anything more now to you to know that this wasn't just a one-time drunken fling, that they both love sex
kind
with
of
each
like
other
fuck
so
buddies.
yeah.
I mean, that's not surprising to
Right.
me.
And then Schwartz says, I love that you do this because it makes me seem like a better person. Right?
Why did he think that was a good thing to say?
Because he once, like Katie said, rightfully, she said that your cheating was still horrible, but it makes you feel...
Oh my
Sorry
gosh,
about...
Jiggy is back from the grave.
I'm so sorry. We have dogs that scream and bark. That it makes you feel better about yourself, that someone did something awful and you've done so many awful things, so you feel like it's a level playing field now, even though it's completely different.
Yeah, I feel like Katie keeps bringing up, like she brings it up here and then I think elsewhere too, about how gnarly of a time the divorce was for her and how like bad the Rachel stuff was for her and stuff. And I feel like, I mean, obviously during the Rachel, like season 10 or whatever, like that stuff did come up, but I feel like she is, it was a rough time for her that no one understood what was going on for her because everyone was like, anyways.
Oh, so you're saying that we didn't get the full arc of what Katie was actually going through. The full emotional resonance wasn't clear to the audience in season 10.
Yeah.
So we're surprised that Katie was actually having a rough time because it didn't really translate.
Yeah, because I feel like we always just get the rage, like the like I'll light you on fire, the like I'll like rip you a new asshole point of view, when underneath that obviously is that she's like sad about her divorce and that like she's sad that he's moving on and stuff, which is a perspective that I'm interested in seeing.
Yeah, I think we've said before that would have been Katie and Schwartz's season about the aftermath of a divorce of a 10-year, relationship or 15-year relationship, but Scandival completely overshadowed it to where we weren't looking for storylines about Katie at all.
Right.
So we kind of missed the resonance of the Rachel shit. But I do remember watching season 10, how mad we were at Schwartz for kissing Rachel when that was,
it was
like
just stupid.
It really was. And then knowing that he was actually doing that to obfuscate what was actually going on with Tom Sandoval and Rachel.
Right. They they really quickly cover the Tory thing. And Katie says that she's on her hoe game and that Schwartz asked her if she's dating anybody. She says she's dating everybody. And this is where she can't deny. She says she doesn't remember if she's hooked up with Max again.
Oh, is that what she said?
She goes, I don't know. I don't remember.
I took that to be Katie speak for, yes, we've had sex multiple times.
Everyone in the room was like, obviously.
Yeah.
And then, I loved when Andy brought up that Wolf is opening soon. And Lisa's like, are you going to be there? And Andy's like, will you fly me out? And she's like, yeah. And he goes, private?
I love that too.
She's like, you're such a diva.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think he was there.
Oh, I don't think she did it. Yeah, I like that we got to get a sense of Andy's rider for going to like a Bravo affiliated event. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, fly me private. I'll go for 3 hours. I'll leave. Like,
Yeah. Did you see those photos of her on the wolf red carpet with the men dressed as wolves?
no,
Oh my God, I have to show
it
you.
was cool.
It was like
I never see
men
stuff like
wearing
that.
like wolf heads and flanking her arm by arm, and then there was the real wolf dog there too.
Were they bare chested
Good question.
or in full just wolf costume? I don't know why I
they
thought
were
they'd
either
be.
they were potentially bare chested or wearing like suits.
Do you mind if on the next break I look it up?
Please.
Okay. Yeah. I don't really remember about the Tahoe trip what was valuable for them to talk about.
They are bare chested, but in coats.
Oh, I knew it. Oh, Amy just showed me proof that what I dreamed of Lisa doing is in fact true. It's wolf heads, real wolf heads that are severed off. You can see a little bit of tendrils and blood. And then these guys are wearing suits, bare chested, with the wolf head on, and then one of them is holding a wolf, and the wolf is looking at Lisa. Lisa
amazing.
is I mean, that is so fun.
Iconic.
Yeah, that is so cool of her. So yeah, the Lake Tahoe trip, they kind of I don't really remember at all what was what was so powerful, but this is what leads them into the boundaries talk a
Right.
little bit.
Yeah, I did like the only thing I'll say about the Tahoe thing is that James is saying he's like he was like, obviously if we were gonna cover this territory, I'd rather be at a gorgeous house in Tahoe than at like fucking Sur. And he goes, I mean, I love Sur.
Yeah, did you see in the extended
Lisa was like, "Arr!"
Yeah. Did you, yeah, in the extended cut, I was just gonna say Lisa puts a finger over her throat like this menacingly, and James walks it back completely.
He was so scared.
It's so funny that he was like, I would never do it at Sir.
Well, it's like he essentially was saying what we were all thinking. We're like, how many fucking more scenes can be filmed at
Yeah.
Sur when none of you work there?
Yeah, and then they ask about the Sheena's struggle with loyalty to Sandoval, and Sheena's like, Ariana didn't watch, so why would we even ask? Let's brush past this, Andy. Please don't talk about this. And Ariana says, Sheena's feelings are valid, but I am not the person
Yeah.
to go to for your pro Sandoval heartfelt feelings.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like, I'm
Yeah.
not the recipient for that.
Yeah.
Um,
They were both being nice. Like, I felt like they were like, Sheena was sort of brushing over it and was like, I just want you to know I'm always here for you. And Ariana was like, and Sheena was like, I don't always like say the right thing or do the right thing or whatever. And Ariana was like, I feel you, girl. Like, same.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, okay, anyways, like,
Yeah,
we're
it's-
not getting into it here. So
Ariana is not at the place with Sheena where she's gonna like discuss like this might be the end of a friendship because she hasn't watched the full season yet. So
Right.
she's still respectful of Sheena overall. And then
Yeah.
this is what I thought, this part was powerful to me. This is sort of like Lala's hypocrisy
Yeah.
a little bit.
yeah, it was like weird semantics where I was just like, what the fuck are we even talking about?
Yeah. So Ariana says something like, Lala, you had clear boundaries about Randall, or they ask Lala, and why was this different for you?
Yeah.
And then Lala gives a new rationale for why it's different. She says, I have a child, and it's a
Yeah.
child custody battle. So
Right.
this is completely different. And then Sheena tries to give her a alley-oop and says, and also it was more than cheating in this instance. Like Randall was a mini Weinstein or whatever. But I'm like, first of all, it was about the house. Now
Right.
it's
I know. I literally said when she goes, it's very different. And here's why I literally said out loud, not the house.
yeah, no. And I think she's over talking about the house. Now she says, my child.
Yeah.
And she goes, you will never understand what it's like to have a child. And that's why this is completely different. And then
Right.
Katie goes very softly, but rationally says, well, despite that, Ariana can still have boundaries for herself, right?
Right.
And then Lala goes, and now I'm confused. And and this is when the semantics game starts happening,
Yeah.
and why she's trying to try to validate why she was so disrespectful of Ariana's boundaries and why it's so different.
Yeah.
She goes, if you are in the house, she brings it the house.
Sleeping down the hall from him and got a boyfriend not 10 days later. Like she was like, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. She said, I would have been looked at differently. And I don't think that's true. I
Right.
don't think that if Lala set up the same boundaries with Randall, but had still moved on, and we found out that she was still living in the house because it's like
especially if she co-owned the house.
Right, with your daughter.
Yeah.
Like, so it's not, that doesn't add anything to the equation.
No.
People would have respected your boundaries regardless. Why
That's
are
a
you
flaw.
adding these weird caveats to justify this unjustifiable stance, in my
I
opinion?
also like when she was like, she brought up the pickleball thing, and she was basically saying that Rand used Schwartz as a pawn to film with.
Yeah.
She was like, he doesn't. Sorry, dog.
Dog.
She was like, he didn't want to hang out with Schwartz.
Yeah.
And then Schwartz was like, oh.
I thought that was so rude. It's like, oh yeah, Randall, he would never want to do anything fun with Schwartz, someone who's 10 times more fun than him. Like that was so rude. And then this is when they get into what it means to understand someone's boundaries and also respect someone's boundaries.
Right.
Ariana says to her, "It doesn't matter if you understand my boundaries, you can respect them. I don't have to justify or rationalize my boundaries to you. I would just respect yours, point blank.
Right.
You respected Katie's after the divorce, and then she tries to say something about how Katie's was different. She wasn't traumatized. It's like,
What?
she's just digging herself. She's trying to dig herself out of a hole and justify.
It just doesn't jive with her entire ethos.
Exactly.
Like her ethos is like, that's what I said. Like, that's what I want.
Yeah.
And like, fuck you if you don't agree.
Yeah. But you know what part of her ethos it does jive with? Hypocrisy.
Yeah. Yeah. And then she brings up out of her back pocket that Charlie last season talked shit about her to Ariana and Sandoval, saying that like basically she like fucked up the wrong tree and didn't get a prize out of it, and so she's bitter or whatever. And Ariana laughed at that joke. Even Sandoval didn't even laugh. He sort of gave a like, oh damn face. I was like, was he being like self-aware to like not get in trouble, or was he just surprised?
No, Ariana's face, I swear, you can read it uncharitably, but I thought it was the shock of hearing someone go so in
Sure.
on someone that it overwhelms you.
Totally. Whatever. I don't blame her for that at all. But
Yeah.
But she was like, we literally talked about that on camera, but Lala's like, well, it didn't air, so let's talk about it now. And she's like, but like you and me talked about it already.
Right. So then Lala does the exact opposite of what she said with Katie, where she's like, I was using a true conversation off camera to inform our storyline. And then Lala wanted to not use a scene because it didn't air to
Right.
Justify her stance.
Was that plant scene was this season?
Yeah, that must have been her, like, in a poker game. She thought that she had the, whatever it is, 4 of hearts or whatever. And then Ariana just pushed that right back on her and said, we already talked about this, so why would you pretend like we didn't already have this conversation? You're not over it
like
already.
we were good. Then we get into, this was also a little confusing to me. It was like the Tahoe fan photo conversation. And they were saying, so Ariana said that, like, honestly, when I first saw it, it did make me a little uncomfortable, which is fine. That was like the first thing that happened. So it's like, that is going to be like, oh, is this how it's going to be kind of a thing. But then Ariana thanked Lala for giving her new perspective, where what Lala said was that there will be headlines regardless. Like, so I guess Ariana was saying, like, don't pose for shit like that because then there will be headlines. But then Lala was saying there will be headlines anyway.
No, so
I was confused.
So that scene was Sheena was getting a lot of shit for being the one who was actually touching Sandoval, even though I said at the time, why isn't everyone getting shit? Lala included. Everyone is in that photo. So why just because Sheena's proximity is the closest?
Yeah.
Whatever. But anyway, but Sheena was getting...
She should have told the public
Ariana,
that it was okay.
Ariana should have commented or made a story saying, I love Sheena with all of my heart, and I know she has to do horrible things like touch Sandoval at Wolf by Vanderpump, and let's all forgive her now. But Ariana's stance typically is don't feed the fire. Why would I ever make a public statement? That sets a bad precedent of us constantly having to respond to everything. But Lala's conversation actually made her realize that she could do her friend a favor. Sheena needs that from Ariana to help her and redeem herself in the fans' eyes. So she gave, even after Lala is doing this shitty stuff about her boundaries, she gave Lala a win and said, you really spoke to me and I appreciated you doing that.
Yeah. At that weird Chipotle on Melrose conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. And then there was another unseen footage clip where it was about Sheena trying to convince Ariana to have a conversation with Sandoval, basically so that she could relax. She was like, I need you guys to squash this beef because I can't take it anymore. And Ariana's basically like, I'm unwilling to do that for you because that does nothing for me. It only satisfies him. And if I don't need that, then like, I'm not going to do that just for you.
Yeah.
And then Sheena's like, and so I said, I will not hate him forever for you. And I was like, huh?
I didn't understand what that unseen footage added to the conversation.
No.
I understand why they cut it because everyone remained the same after that conversation. Like we get,
Yeah.
and Ariana said the same thing for the Applebee's statement where she said, I am not giving him the chance to redeem himself in the fans' eyes. I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be there for that because it hurts me. Like it's traumatizing for me and it would only help him.
Right. And then Andy, I felt like the way he phrased this question was a little shady. He asked Sheena what hurt her most about finding out that Ariana was doing Dancing with the Stars, which, you know, the internet had a field day. But she basically just said that it was that she wasn't told specifically when other people had been told. So it wasn't just that there was an NDA, like she specifically wasn't told. But Ariana said that there was a leak.
Right.
Like she had told certain people, then it leaked. So then Dancing with the Stars people were like, now you really can't fucking tell anyone.
They're like, we'll fire you ASAP if Sheena or anyone else finds out about this. Like, what the hell's going on with Dancing with the Stars? We already talked about this.
I know. Well, we just saw a Dumois leak that Sutton's going to be on.
Right. But it's like, who cares?
Yeah, who gives a shit?
Who cares? I mean, like, sorry. The
Yeah.
secrecy for the casting of Dancing with the Stars.
And then Andy was like, so that means you don't trust Sheena? And she was like, I didn't trust that she wouldn't be overheard because she's a public figure. I was like, what?
Can I say something? This is like provocative.
Stinker?
But stinker. Well, a little stinker. There's a lot of leaks that I know are happening in Ariana's camp. Like
Piss leak.
Dancing with the Stars. There's a little bit of piss leaks coming out of Ariana's camp. Like
Brad? Brad?
Oh, I wasn't going to say it. Let's beep his name.
Who was always there.
Right. Dancing with the Stars was leaked. Something about hers launch date was leaked. I'm
True.
sure other campaigns have been leaked. I'm like, Ariana, if that many stories are going to the U.S. Sun or whatever the hell these publications are, you've got a rat in the circle.
Yeah.
You got a
The
rat.
full Departed.
Let's do a full Departed. Ariana hires us under pretenses that are false for all of her friends.
Yeah.
She goes, I've got 2 new best friends. They're kind of going to replace me as the hangers-on in my circle.
Yeah.
And
We're going to say, meet us at like 3246 Melrose Ave.
No. Meet me at Tom Tom for a secret rendezvous where we're going to expose the rat. Meet me at Sir. Meet me at the Alley of Pump. And then whoever goes to the right location, like Pump,
Yeah.
we know who it is. We bust the shit out of them. You want to do that?
Yeah. I like this.
Ariana,
operation.
I know. Okay, I know you listened. You got turned off by the something about her conversation, but we're back on your side here. We're gonna find out the rat in your camp for sure.
We're going to plug up this hole.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, I did like at the end of the Dancing with the Stars conversation. I don't know if you were just gonna say it, but
Yeah.
I liked it. Sheena. This is the epitome of Sheena and why she is polarizing because I love it, but I know people hate it.
Yeah.
He goes. So if. He goes, why, Andy? Why isn't Dancing with the Stars like casting you immediately? It's almost cruel. They've heard how much you want to be on it. And Sheena goes, honestly, I am doing so much this year that I couldn't even have that on my plate. I would much prefer it next year because I am in music. And she starts going into like her schedule and how much passion.
Angie goes, with all due, if they call you tomorrow, you're not saying no. And she's like, well, obviously. And like she would throw Summer Moon into a garbage disposal if she had to.
Don't say that. Yeah, of course, metaphorically. Yeah. No, but do you get like what I'm saying? That like that's the kind of statement that makes people so mad at Sheena. You know, like, but
well, also she said that she like accidentally found out about Broadway because Andy was like,
oh yeah,
who here found out about Broadway before it was announced? And it was no one. She didn't tell anyone. But Sheena was like lurking in the trailer after Dancing with the Stars
she
finale.
got a key to the trailer and she was sitting behind the couch and she surprised Ariana and Brad and everybody when they came
someone
in.
was like, Ariana, you need to get some rest. You have that big announcement tomorrow. And Sheena goes, what announcement? And then Ariana was like, "Oh, she doesn't know." And they're like, "Are you gonna tell her?" And she's like, "Tell me what?"
Also, Katie was rolling her eyes at this
Oh my
entire
God.
time as Sheena was telling this like really long story about
Yeah.
how she found out about Broadway.
Yeah.
Well, it is sad to me that Sheena lost the golden ticket to be in the Ariana inner circle.
Yeah.
She really feels. I know that she did some things to affect that relationship, but I do know it hurts Sheena to not be Logan, Brad,
Yeah.
Dan, and whoever the hell else is in that circle. You
yeah.
and I.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I mean, it would be a hard act to follow because she made it to third place. So if Sheena was on immediately after and got voted off like second, it
Oh,
would be horrible.
There would be so much. Oh, like if Sheena deals with hate all the time, the amount of hate she would get if she was competing on Dancing with the Stars, it would be unfathomable for
I
her.
know. Yeah. If she does get it, I hope she does really well because otherwise it's going to be horrible.
I personally would love to watch
you
her
vote?
on it. If she invited me, or if we were just.
Just on your phone, would you vote?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said go.
Oh.
Of course I would vote for Sheena.
I would go and I would vote.
I would
I
go.
wish we went for Ariana.
It depends on who else was doing the Dancing with the Stars. Like, what if like it was
Okay.
like Robert De Niro, Jack Nicholson.
The old timers. It would be like
Robert De Niro.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, George Santos, Rudy Giuliani. He already did it. He already did it.
Did he?
Yeah. He was Masked Singer.
Oh.
Luann de Lesseps, Rudy Giuliani,
It would be like
Johnny Depp, right?
it would be like Gritty, the
Gritty,
mascot.
the thing from that Philadelphia mascot, that little thing. What is he?
Gypsy Rose.
Gypsy Rose.
She might be too big at this point.
Oh, did you? Oh, we haven't talked about Gypsy Rose in so long.
Did you see her prison punch? Her prison energy drink?
No, what's that? It's called Prison.
She showed how to make a Red Bull in jail. It was like Folgers instant coffee, Hawaiian punch packets, and crushed up Jolly Ranchers.
Oh my God,
Mixed together.
this is such a coincidence, but I'm drinking that.
Is it good?
Yeah.
I miss Gypsy.
So let's rip through Allie and Joe.
Yeah.
We get some new energy at the reunion. They talk about, so Allie and Joe come out. Allie talks about her booming business, which I thought of you the entire time when she talked
Yeah.
about the new rate.
I got a great deal.
Yeah.
I think it was like $50.
And now it's $195, and Andy
Yeah.
goes, charge more.
Yeah.
And James
She probably
goes,
could.
yeah. And James goes, I want 30 people on a Zoom paying $300 an hour, and Allie just rakes it in.
Alley Bally experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, then they start asking about how Joe and Schwartz first started hanging out, which they sort of like
Yes.
skirt past because the question is, how did you guys first start hanging out? And she immediately goes to that. She needed a place to stay, so he let her couch surf for 4 days with her dog and whatever, and that then after a few weeks they hooked up or whatever. But I was like, no, like obviously you knew each other before he let you couch surf.
Yes. And I think I heard the real origin story. Do you want me to say it in like 20
Yeah.
seconds? I think that guy, Jared Lips, is a makeup artist that he does all of the Bravo people or Vanderpump Rules
Yes.
people. And he needed a hair
Yes.
stylist on a whim. Did you hear this too?
Yeah.
Okay. He needed a hairstylist because someone backed out. And Joe was recommended because they would be doing Ariana's hair.
Mhm.
Joe came. She was fine. They said her energy was maybe a little off, but she was fine enough. Like they would
Yeah.
have hired her again. But then immediately, like they went to her website or something after, and she had already put Ariana as a celebrity client and
Yeah.
put a bunch of photos
It
of
was
the
like
hair.
official Vanderpump Rules stylist.
Yeah.
And she made she was claiming that she framed it as if she was the hair partner to his makeup business.
Oh,
Like it was like they were a
Team.
duo or something.
So she really did like a credit, like which people do this. Like
Yeah.
she overemphasized her credits for clout, so people would.
Yeah, but he was saying that it was like shady because she had previously done Kristen's hair but she didn't list her as a celebrity client.
Oh.
But when the second she did Ariana's hair, she was like, celebrity client.
So she was in the periphery of the Vanderpump Rules cast, just sort of like
Yeah.
hanging on the sidelines. And he's
Friends with Kristen Doty.
and then
Schwartz
Schwartz
said they would text a few times a year, like very casual
Yeah.
acquaintances.
And then Lala asks the essential question, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
How did you decide that Schwartz was the right person for this couch surf adventure? She does not do a good job of answering it. She says, well, it was COVID. And Katie goes,
no, it wasn't.
and
Like,
she goes, well, COVID was still in the air.
I'm like, well, it's still true today.
And she goes, well, 2 of my friends had COVID during it. So it's like it was like 2022 or something.
Right. I'm like, Schwartz and Katie were married during COVID, were they not?
Yeah. And it's like, okay, technically COVID is still among us, but it was not COVID times.
Right. Yeah. And then
they're platonic drinking buddies,
Yeah.
Schwartz says.
Schwartz implies that she didn't go live with Kristen because she had a chaotic living situation at the time, which might be true because isn't that around the time when she sold her house and then she was like maybe trying to like get pregnant with that guy and then they broke up. So
I'll
I was
give
like,
them
honestly,
that.
probably.
I'll give them that. I think it was the
Did you hear
Alex.
Lisa?
She goes,
oh, drama with Kristen? I don't believe it.
you know what would be the best thing in the world for all of
Supercut?
us? What? What'd you say?
Sorry. go-
What'd you say?
I want a supercut of Lisa shading
Oh,
Kristen.
I want that too, because one of my favorite moments is on Beverly Hills when they talk about Kristen in their reunion, and Lisa goes, I don't care for Kristen. But I want so badly for Kristen and Lisa to finally work it out.
Yeah.
Could you imagine
A
how
one-on-one.
how powerful a sit down between them would be if Lisa gets tired of being on Vanderpump Rules because they don't appreciate her, and Kristen says, you can come on the Valley, but we have to have a sit down at Sir
Yeah.
together for you
Yeah.
to be on the Valley.
Yeah, it would be like a slow pan up. You'd see her little Maloof hoofs like walking down the street,
Oh.
and it would pan up, and it would be her, and it would be so exciting.
I could not imagine how I feel like
I mean, Lisa's a producer on the Valley, right?
yes,
Because it's a spinoff.
yeah.
So
I feel
yeah.
like the Bravo fandom, we would all collectively just gasp and wonder at
yeah.
that.
And then Ariana says that she still thinks that Joe knew about the affair.
And Joe doesn't deny it. She doesn't even try.
Yeah.
It's too cut and dry.
Yeah. And then Schwartz is being like all fucking over the place with this. He's being so like wishy-washy and like overwhelmed, and he's like, we really had lightning in a bottle for a second, and like I really liked that she wasn't interested on being in the show, so I think he thought she was like a refuge, but then she did end up being on the show.
Yeah.
And there's something that they refused to mention.
Yes, I wanted
that I really want to know what it is.
Me too. I'm like, what happened that cannot be discussed in the realm of Bravo? Like, there's nothing that happens that like should not be on camera. Like,
No,
of,
she's
of
like,
what
we don't
happened.
need to get into it. And like he refers to it, he goes like, something happened
Something really personal happened
that kept them from moving forward.
No, that
as a
made Schwartz.
couple.
That made Schwartz. He says it in his language, his obscure language. He says that made me rethink starting a relationship with Joe. So it
Yeah.
sounds like she did something horrible that he looked at her completely different after that. And
Right.
they need to say what it was. It's like, what
I
could it have
know.
been?
I'm dying to know, but they agreed apparently to not talk about it.
But a little bit I think my theory of this like timeline of why Schwartz is so flustered and why they say that this like wasn't properly articulated on the show is that I think Schwartz was already over Joe completely by the time that they started filming, and they had already had that blowout, whatever
Yeah.
it was, but Joe still wanted to be on the show, or he was not going to hinder Joe from being on the show because she had the Katie storyline, and there was still enough there to where Jeremiah wanted her presence on the show, but he was so out of the relationship at that point that it wasn't accurate to say that that their relationship was actively happening and falling apart on camera, because he was already out the door before filming even started. And I
Right.
think that's why Sandoval says their relationship wasn't accurately portrayed this season.
Right. Katie is accusing him of being a fuckboy. He says that is a gross simplification of the situation. And then they're talking about the hookup timeline, because Sandoval's like, first Sandoval tries to clarify, and it's like a disaster. He's like, so just tell me this, like, after we began filming, how like how long had it been since you had sex? And Schwartz is like, I have no idea.
Sorry, I don't mark days or time by sexual encounters.
Yeah. Joe's like about to cry / crying. Lala comes to her defense and says that Schwartz is gaslighting her, which he denies. But he said that he didn't, like, he won't call it a relationship. He said he was incapable. I know he had a lot going on in his life at that point, but it's just a disaster all around.
Yeah.
Then they immediately ask him about his new girlfriend, which is like so savage because then he lights up and it's like, she's gorgeous, she's hilarious, she's so smart.
But that's not
She's
all.
23. And he's like, sorry, this is disrespectful to Joe. And they're all like, oh, now it's disrespectful to Joe. And she's like literally sobbing.
Yeah. I mean, there can't be much worse than being in love with someone and it ended badly, and then you hear them detail why they love the person that they're fully confident with showing the world after
Right.
you were sort of hidden from the world.
Oh
It's
my
very
God,
sad.
yeah, like literally he had her in like the gremlin chamber. Like
Yeah.
he never told anyone about her. And then they start talking about everything that Katie said about Joe, which is very upsetting to her. Katie like doesn't give a fuck. She's like, I did use some colorful descriptors.
Yeah. And Joe's like, colorful? And Katie goes, yeah, colorful.
Yeah. But I was trying to think about like to contextualize how everyone seems to agree that it was very random that she moved in with him. And I'm like trying to think of examples in my own life of like who would be like the freak weirdo that someone I barely know that it would be like, oh, like after you and Jimmy got divorced, such and such moved in, and I'd be like, what?
Yeah. No. I don't even really need it contextualized. I get why you're saying that.
Yeah.
But I totally understand why Katie thinks this is weird, and the way that Joe couldn't properly explain why she chose Schwartz and all this
Right.
shit makes me know that it was odd.
Right.
And also, I mean, Joe's behavior post reunion, like what she's doing now, like I sort of get a sense for why Katie thought that this was an odd person, like
Right.
acting kind of weird.
Right. Like waiting in the wings, and then basically got on the #1 cable show out of it too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then, so, you know, just says she was struggling with her divorce and that, you know, she doesn't give a shit about Joe. She's still like, fuck Joe. And then, for some reason Joe keeps mentioning that she would love to date Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
And luckily the room kind of all agree that he's, bad.
Yeah, Andy says he's a wackadoo, and
Yeah.
Ariana says he's a conspiracy theorist. And this is the second time Joe has brought it into the world that she wants to date Aaron Rodgers. Does she, like, I know she must think he's so hot or whatever, but like, why does she keep saying that to the world? Like,
I know.
like she actually thinks now with this like opportunity or fame that he will see this and start
Right.
to date her.
Right. And then when they all respond poorly, she goes, John Mayer? And Sheena goes, been there, done that.
Yep. Yeah, that was good. Sheena loved that John Mayer was mentioned for a second.
Of course. And then we get into the cats and hippie of it all, which there wasn't that much of an update. They said that it's going great. I don't necessarily believe them.
Yeah. What do you think? I mean, I really do. I mean, James and Allie do not have a lot to do this season.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think, like, what do you, like, I was just thinking, like, James is not essential to this reunion.
Yeah.
I mean, the Allie drama, the hippie drama, that's really all he had. I'm just
Yeah.
wondering, do you think that this was just sort of a rough season for James? Like, not a lot of his storylines got showcased or something? Or is
Yeah.
this like just, it happens every once in a while you're up and a couple seasons you're down? Like,
Right.
there wasn't a lot there
Right.
for James.
Right. I know, because he does have the rage simmering beneath
Yeah.
that just like keeps popping out. And I feel like he's like just trying to hold it all together. He's been sober for almost a year, they say.
Yeah.
He's trying to make his relationship with Allie work, even though she'll probably leave him. And
You think so?
I just feel like she's like not in all the way.
Do you think that her aversion to marriage and having children is because she's not there with James, or that's just an actual life stance and she wouldn't
Yeah.
be ready with
Well,
anybody?
probably both. I mean, she's young. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think she needs to be ready
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it's like thinking about the possibility of marrying James like makes her concerned or
Yeah,
something. Because
I think probably.
that was, I mean, not to bring her up.
Imagine introducing James to your parents.
Yeah, well, he's so much better. But I remember, I think the final straw with Rachel, not to bring her up, but was when they were about to get married, and she like realized that this was
When he called her mom a fat bitch.
right. Yeah, I'm like maybe
And potentially kicked her family dog.
yes. What did you think about the like sort of the hippie like traumatized story?
Yeah. I mean, I guess. Like, I mean, I was actually surprised that they stowed the purebred dog, because usually I think they send a human.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Yeah.
But I mean, okay, fine. And then they did reveal in the extended that they ended up going to her best friend's wedding. They found a pet sitter through Vanderpump Dogs.
Right.
But I don't know. He sort of like popped off on this because he was saying what did he? Oh, sorry, this is later. But the Ariana Sandoval pets come up later.
Yes.
And basically they say that there was no conversation of shared custody. It was just a given that Ariana was going to keep the pets or whatever. And James, and then Ariana says, I've had Kitty for 15 years, like before him, she's mine. And Maya I paid for, and like legally speaking, she's mine or whatever. And I guess Sandoval rolled his eyes, and James like goes insane.
Yeah.
And it's like, you didn't give a fuck when Hippie got taken from me and Rachel had him, and when you were getting your dick wet for 7 months. And I was like, whoa. I was like, I really don't think we've explored how much that Scandoval hurt James's feelings.
Yeah. Yes.
The rage was simmering underneath.
Yes, I agree. I agree that there is hypocrisy there, obviously, because James is probably very, very mad about that. But I also a little bit felt like James knew that he needed to get some energy going a little bit at the end and have some antagonism towards Sandoval, and he would use anything to make like a moment happen, and it happened to be Sandoval rolling his eyes. I'm sure Sandoval was rolling his eyes about a lot of shit, but I couldn't tell. I mean, I believe obviously that really hurt James's feelings, but I don't know like why this was the time for him to light up on Sandoval.
Right. And I'm also, it just was like out of nowhere, because it was like, why would Sandoval give a shit about your animal custody? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it felt like James just like was like, let's hit the rage meter to 9 for a second and make this a little more explosive.
Do you think Sandoval, that's sort of the very end, because Sandoval goes, I'm going to bite my tongue about stuff that I've heard that really adds up. And he goes, then, he tells him to like eat a dick or whatever. But I'm like, is he going to go there and like say some fucked up shit? Because I want him to.
That's what I thought he was alluding to.
Yeah.
I thought that he was going to bring up Teddy and Tamra or whatever in the limousine, all those like accusations that are coming up. And that's why James reacted so strongly. Like, you don't know shit, Sandoval.
I know, so I'm like, say it.
I don't think he would, because it's like
then he'll bring up like the sex tape and shit.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you? That's
if you go low, I'll go low.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Did you think it was funny when they were like, Allie was saying, she was like, if he does ask me to get married, I'll probably say yes, but it'll be a long engagement. And she goes, nobody in this group is inspiring me to move forward. And they're all like, what the hell?
Everyone was so mad at her. I thought it was such a like obvious statement, like a fun, cheeky, obvious statement. And Sheena's like, what are you talking about? and then they're like, Lala has a great relationship. It's like, what are you talking? Like, you know what I mean? It was just such an easy thing to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't. I mean, really, I don't know how much. Like we talked about the end. I did like the moment where James was talking about his drinking, because they were kind of talking about the compromises that Allie and James.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. They were like, "What do you compromise about?" And then they finally talked about sobriety, and James was like, "I haven't drank since April, so it's almost been a year."
Yeah.
And I did like how I guess blunt Allie was about his drinking.
Yeah.
She was just like,
are you supposed to say that? Like, correct me if I'm wrong. She says, I will leave him if he drinks again, which is I guess a perfectly fine boundary for her to set. But he like kind of made a face like I was like, I don't know, like that. I don't know. Is
okay. Here's what I'll say. I loved how blunt that was and how like just plain. If he starts drinking again, I'll leave him. I mean,
Yeah.
we've seen enough evidence
Oh, yeah.
of what James is like drunk, and people have talked about how that he has no 2 drink to 10 drink barrier. It's like all or nothing. Like he gets that rage-filled drunk energy after, a very relatively small amount of drinks. So I fully understand why Allie said if drinking is a part of his personality, which I absolutely hate, I will leave him. I mean,
they bring up that she moved out for a couple days with the cats at one point, and Andy got a little zinger, and he goes, "Did you stay with Schwartz?"
Yeah, but I mean, is there anything offensive to say I don't like you when you drink? I mean, if someone's
no, not that. It was just like it was just very like it wasn't like if he were to like falter, I would be there to support. She was like, no.
Yeah. And so James has made this decision because he wants to stay with Allie and she'll leave if he ever drinks again.
Right. They also give Andy shouts out Lala for her 5 years or whatever. And she points out, I mean, I think she was genuine and she actually does appreciate it, but it felt a little bit of like a Bravo loves sobriety moment where he was like, we honor your journey.
Yeah, where he was like, it is so amazing, what you're doing. Like, you think to counter the accusations that Bravo is a drunken cesspool.
Totally. He's like, you are celebrated to quit drinking here.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I believe him. I always feel like Andy's genuinely, because he drinks a good amount and it's part of his job kind of on like, and he always is if you read his book, he always goes sober before BravoCon, and he always has his mind on like, I think, taking it easy or like keeping an eye on his drinking or whatever. So I think he really is impressed when people quit, or like when people like lose weight and he's like, did you quit drinking? Because that's like the most amazing thing or whatever. So
yeah.
I do think he is like genuinely impressed, but it just made me think about the like lawsuit, like the Liam McSweeney of it all.
Yeah.
He also was like obsessed with Anne.
I know. Yeah. I think that, I feel like Anne had a strong start. And then we only got like maybe one scene with her. But I think that the reaction to her from the first 3 episodes carried them all away and made the Anne, fandom really possible.
Right.
I forget what were they, that was when they were talking about how she has to clean up Sandoval's underwear, and he said
right.
She absolutely does not.
Right. And then Andy did kind of give Ariana shit for the skewers.
He said, he said, so Maya was locked in your room and you had chicken sauté skewers next to your bed. He goes, even I'll admit that's kind of gross.
And she goes, well, it's my space.
Yeah, right.
It's like, ah. Like she even was like, Andy Cohen, I'm not going there. But yeah, she says she should have been consulted about the entree into that room or whatever. I mean, we've beaten that whole situation with,
Yeah.
But yeah, the James dog outburst is the last thing.
Yeah, and James kind of they end part 2, rightfully on a moment of chaos or fury, with James going in about the hypocrisy of Tom Sandoval, that he didn't give a shit about Hippie like we talked about. And it does seem like Tom Sandoval is waiting there to possibly push the button on those James allegations, but I unfortunately do not think that's going to happen.
Okay.
Not unfortunately, but I don't think he'll go there.
Right. Well, the Andy kind of tried. He brought up that Rachel brought it up on her podcast that James that she says that he's like that. Hippie is like that because of what James did to him as a puppy. And then they brought out that stowage story. So they kind of tried.
Yeah, they did.
And yeah, next week it looks like they are forcing Tom and Ariana to have a face-to-face, and everyone's crying. And I am looking forward to, I hope that more happens than, because in the preview, all she says is, I just want you away from me. I'm like, I hope they like at least have some interaction. I'm just like curious,
Yeah, I think they will, or unless they're just editing it to where it's like looks like Tom Sandoval is facing her. He says something like, he goes, I did the one thing that I said I would never do to you. And I was like, cheat?
I know. I was like, they had a like specific agreement.
Like, what else did you do?
Right.
Like, if I started to cheat on you, I would tell you. Like, everyone has that
Yeah.
agreement. Like, what are you crying?
I know.
What are you going to make a big meal out of where you're crying? What new information are you going to
Yeah.
provide here that's like, I don't know.
I guess I'm just like, we're so starved for, like, at this point, I'm like, what was their dynamic towards the end? Like, what do, if anything, they miss about each other? Like, I just want to see them interact just so I can get a little gauge on
Yeah.
like what was. Like, I kind of just like want to see.
Yeah, me too. I mean, selfishly,
Yeah.
I do, but we won't get that in the form of Vanderpump Rules. We really won't, because I think Ariana has made it so clear that a conversation with Sandoval is only beneficial because he will take advantage of that space to try to seek redemption in the form of crying, like he's going to do, in part 3.
Yeah, that's to be expected. I'm just like, it's at least something to chew on.
Yeah, as fans, I guess you'd want it, but you have to think about the authenticity of the situation a little bit.
Yeah.
But let's I think did we parse that properly? You
I
think?
think so.
All right.
But yeah, I hope that's kind of the only clip they've been showing from part 3. So I hope there's more than just that.
I know, me too. Because I don't, like you said last week, I think you were like, if it's just Ariana reacting to the final moments, like, is it going to be that big of a deal that she sees how Lala was screaming about her being a god?
Well, yeah, we haven't seen. There is that clip they showed that one time where Ariana's crying and she says that it hurts her feelings. So I assume that's
because
about.
of what Lala said.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, good. All right. Well, that was our recap of Vanderpump Rules Part 2. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to take a certified turtle piss break again, grab some wine, and then we'll come back and talk about the Valley and Summer House.
Woo.
There's breaking Turtle Time news, Amy.
Tell me.
Right as I was on the toilet, on top of the toilet, I found out. What do you say? Hanging over the toilet, there was news from the Bravo universe. The Beverly Hills cast is here, fully announced for season 14. Can I shock you with each name?
Tell me.
Garcelle.
Okay.
Number 2, Erica Jane.
Okay.
Number 3, Dorit Kimsley.
No way.
Yes. 4, Kyle Richards.
Okay.
5, Sutton Strack.
Okay.
And then new addition, Bozoma St. John, the former chief marketing executive of Netflix.
Wow. I think I remember her from like reading about entertainment news.
Reading about you mean
like,
in the
just as an executive.
Oh,
I remember.
me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I didn't have very much time to see who that was, but I found out that she is a chief marketing executive former. She wrote a book, and good. I don't know anything about her, but we'll learn more. And then as friends, Kathy Hilton and Jennifer Tilly.
The Jennifer Tilly one I'm excited for.
Yeah, Jennifer Tilly didn't get a chance to really shine. She was only in like one scene.
The Bride of Chucky herself.
I know. That's what I was thinking. Bride of Chucky. But I do think she could potentially be good. She wasn't really used a lot in season 13.
Right. I think my peacock icon is Chucky. Maybe I'll change it to the Bride of Chucky.
You should, in honor of Jennifer Tilly being in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
I think this will be good. I mean, I don't like Kathy Hilton at all. But I do think it'll be good for potentially the Kyle, interaction.
She needs someone there now that she's vulnerable.
Yeah. And Dorit, they honored her because she's going through turmoil with PK. Erica, evergreen. She's always going to have a diamond. Yep. Garcelle. And so it's a good, I love the Beverly Hills cast. I think without Crystal, I think that's not a net, it's a net neutral. Yeah. I don't think Crystal was adding anything much. We'll see the new cast member. I think that'll be great. And then Kathy Hilton and Jennifer Tilly, that's tried and true people, I think.
Yeah.
So it's good.
We'll see.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, we'll see. Can I say one thing to you before we start the Valley really quick?
Okay.
Did you see that clip of Cy DeSilva on Jeff Lewis? I saw this and I said, this was meant for me. Jeff Lewis had her on the podcast and they thought they were on a commercial break, and Jeff Lewis is like looking at his phone.
Yeah.
And the producer asks on mic, but on a commercial, they go, Sai, how's it going with that new cast member you got? What's that cast member's name?
Rebecca Minkoff.
Yeah. And Sai goes, I'm sorry. Something like this. She's like, she's boring as hell.
Yeah.
She said, we're all trying to take her down any way we can, but she's too boring as hell to even understand what we're doing. And I was like, God damn. If Sai says the show is boring,
Yeah.
how bad is Roni season 15? I mean, it was like watching paint dry before, and now with the new cast member, even Sai is calling it boring.
Yeah.
I feel like that should have been like Andy Cohen been like, oh my God, scrap this shit right now. You know, like
Yeah.
we need new cast or something. Like
Yeah.
I can't even imagine the fact that a new cast member are already calling boring, how bad this could
Yeah.
potentially be.
I keep getting TikToks of Jenna Lyon's private chef.
Oh, right. I saw that.
And she's kind of just like, you would barely, if you weren't in the know, realize it was her, or like I recognize her house, and then like she will go by in the background sometimes. And I'm like, historically, I would have been so excited about Jenna Lyon's anything. But now whenever I see that apartment, I'm like, it holds no wonders.
Yeah, like no fun will be had here.
Whereas when I saw a another TikTok about the listing of Sonia Morgan's townhouse, because it's on a auction, and they just did a tour where it's pretty much empty, but it's obviously totally recognizable.
What do you mean auction?
I don't know the actual legality of what happened. I don't know if it was a foreclosure or they couldn't get the asking price. So now it's like flipped over into an auction where apparently I think she had listed it for like 7 or 7.5 and it got no takers. And I don't know what an auction quite means, but apparently you and me, unless you have 100, you have to qualify 100 grand to enter bidding
The auction.
Yeah. But yes, people in the comments were saying that Bravo should buy it and make it a housewives museum, and I was like, actually, yeah.
Oh wait, oh yeah, that was great. I was gonna say let's start a GoFundMe to see if you and I could purchase it, and then we would have, you know, TurtleCon or whatever there every 3 months. But
I mean, honestly, like they bring a little exhibition to BravoCon every year. Why not have a year-round Bravo museum?
that would be really cool. Who said that in the comments?
I should give him credit.
Yeah, well, that's a great idea. I feel bad, but Sonia's gonna get $4 million, right?
Yeah, but it's like, it sucks that it took this long. Like she's been dealing with that house for over 10 years trying to get rid of it, and she's not even going to get more than she wanted after that many years.
Yeah, that's so sad. I think officially, like, the Ramona, Luann, Sonia, Dorinda time is over in the Bravo universe.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, there's no Roni
There's no
legacy
blood
season
flow.
2. They're going ahead with the most boring season anybody will ever see of season 15. They're going full steam ahead with that.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're going to give opportunities to this cast. So it's time.
Now I just have to watch Luann sing Flowers by Miley Cyrus with a conga drum.
When did she do that?
I saw a video of her performing it the other day, and she was like, I could buy myself flowers.
That's awesome. Well, I'll watch that. We should figure out what we can do with those 4.
Yeah. I mean, I've been watching, do you ever get Quincy Morgan's TikToks?
No.
It's Sonia's daughter.
Oh, no. I never.
She's
no.
like beautiful and intelligent. I love her.
Oh, wow. What does she talk about on TikTok?
It's just kind of like front facing. Like she talks about her life, how she went to boarding school. She went to like an Ivy League college. Now she has some like weird job that sounds fake, like IP, like she like does experimental equations on the value of IP for entertainment.
Experimental equations on the value of IP. So if someone said Marvel, or they said the Hulk.
Yeah. If they said like, you know, Clifford the Red Dog
and
times July release, are we talking
equals
billions?
Boffo BO at the box office. Clifford the Big Red Dog, animated, July, Chris Pratt,
Exactly.
$100 million. I want to do that job.
See why not?
That's so fun. So Quincy Morgan,
Yeah.
named after John Quincy Adams,
Yeah.
is now evaluating IP that we all cherish and love.
I think that's what she said.
That's cool.
She's also like formerly a fine artist and she speaks French.
She speaks French, and what did you say before that?
She's like a fine artist, like
Oh,
like a painter.
that's so cool. I was thinking of other IP properties, but I won't waste any more time. All right. Well, do you want to talk about a little bit about the Valley?
Yes. This was so episode 2 of Big Bear, and from the reveal of the preview of season third, there's gonna be a third Big Bear episode.
Yes.
Which I'm like, get out of there.
oh, really? You think it's been?
Well, I guess why not have them all in one place?
I really enjoy, I get what you're saying. Like, let's get out of here. But I really love this Big Bear trip.
Yeah.
I feel like they're all sort of blossoming when they're confined together. Like they're really showing their strengths as a cast all
Yeah.
together. Because it is sort of awkward, being in a house with
Yeah.
a lot of first-time cast members who don't
Yeah.
really know how to like do this.
Yeah, it does look like a nice house. We should rent it.
Oh, I would love to.
Yeah.
I thought this was a wonderful episode of The Valley.
Okay.
Very, very. Oh, you didn't like it as much as me?
No, it was good.
Oh, okay. I just love that. Well, first of all, I do love trips.
Yeah.
And I think that they justified them all going on this cast trip together. And for the first time, I started to see blossoming merit from a lot of the people that I wasn't so drawn to before. Like, I felt like Jason had some kind of fun moments in this, correcting what the Napoleon complex was, saying, I wish that all these guys weren't crying on my baby moon. They're
Right.
making me really feel bad about becoming a dad. Who else?
Jasmine was still. She's been giving more recently. That is fun. I like that she's like, I'm neither straight or have a kid, and like, why the fuck do I have to be here and deal with the misery of these heteros?
Yeah, I thought Jasmine did good. I thought that Michelle did a good job when she was bringing up the Santa Clarita stuff about Nia. It's not,
Oh, right.
It wasn't like fundamental to the plot, but it still shows that Michelle is like learning to like bring stuff up on
That
camera.
was giving like she got a nudge.
Yeah, to like be like, you should talk about that scene
She
that we
goes,
didn't really
"Do you
show.
want to live in Santa Clarita or not?"
Yeah, yeah, and then the huge showcase here,
Yeah.
apart from Jesse and Michelle's marriage, which is at its wit's end, but
Yeah.
what Jax and Brittany are going through,
Right.
They gave the entire cast a full glimpse
Right.
at the horrors of their marriage at this point.
Right. They really let it, Jack specifically let it fly.
Yeah.
And their room was in the kitchen.
She-
They were like sleeping in the oven.
Yeah. When Jack starts to talk, Brittany was just listening, hearing everything he said.
I mean, you could tell when they were in their bedroom and the door would open, you could see like the refrigerator is like so close and they were fighting so much. Like,
Yeah. This episode, just, I guess, so we know the plot, like, Jax has that conversation with Michelle about her sending sexy photos to a celebrity. And then Michelle, it was sort of a fake tease because she wasn't admitting to it. It was just, she was saying, I send photos to clients. So there's actually, there's nothing here.
right. Just not sexy ones.
Right. She doesn't take sexy photos. But then, I think at this point, we know that this is really true because even Jesse kind of confirmed it on Watch What Happens Live, that one of these
Right.
relationships went too far, sending
Right.
sexy photos to a celebrity.
Right. But
One
then
in particular.
He also gave like a kind of salacious detail where he was saying, he was like, he was like, I wouldn't expect a dirtbag like Kristen who sells shitty t-shirts to understand the business of acquiring clients. He was like, I send my wife into the den of like horny men to get clients for us. I was like, what the hell is this little setup they have?
Yeah, I think that he's
Like, push up your tits and then we'll sell them something.
Yeah, and he said that. He said that exactly. Push up your tits and show them.
They're giving the duo we always talk about, like the Les Mis duo or like the Sweeney Todd duo. Like there's like the nasty little grifter couple.
Yeah. What's that song that they sing in Les Mis? Sacha Baron Cohen and Helena Bonham Carter?
Yeah, how does it go?
I forget, but that's a really good song. They are giving that. Jesse is saying that there's a line between my wife going up to men and using her sex appeal to sell them a house and what Kristen is accusing her of, which is that she's sending sexy photos of herself to people in particular
Right.
flirting with them.
Right.
But in no way, I don't think, does anybody honor the fact that Michelle should be sending sexy photos of her in a dress to potential clients. Because why would you?
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I do feel like I can't rest until I know who it is.
I know.
I really want to know.
They need to just say it. I'm hearing David Cronenberg.
Body horror.
And I did like, we don't have to go bit by bit, but I did like when Michelle immediately goes to run up to Jesse to tell him this new, she says, rumor. Jesse goes, Jax, get up here. He goes, I don't want to play a game of telephone. He goes, Jax. And Jax is kind of, he's never
He
been
almost like doesn't go.
Yeah, he's never been in a situation where like Jax is getting like ordered around like that.
Yeah.
He kind of caters to Jesse in a way that I've never seen Jax do
Mega
that before.
alpha.
Yeah.
And honestly, when Jax is talking bullshit like that, that is the best thing to do. Like, we just watched Brittany do that to him when Lala told her something. She's like, let's get Lala over here because he's going to weasel his way out of this. Like, you need all factors in the room with him.
And Jax's brain does get scrambled when he's confronted in the moment with the main people who know this knowledge. Like, he kind of loses it a little bit.
Yeah. I once, this is a very random comparison, but I heard a story once of someone, it was Dax Shepard.
Wait. We've talked about Dax Shepard the other day. Are you talking about arms? It's okay.
I know.
I don't, can I be honest though? I don't like those ads where he's trying to sell his car. Have you seen those?
Is it like Carvana?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they'll do anything, those two. But
what's wrong with them?
I don't know why they need so much money.
That's what I just thought about Chris Pratt. He just did like a potato chip ad or like a not Mr. Pringles, just Pringles. And I'm going, seriously, Chris.
You've
Mr.
got Marvel, you've got Garfield, you've got
Mr. Pratt, Mario.
I
mean, like, how much money? $100 million?
I feel that way lovingly about Jack Black as well. I'm like, you've done so many franchises. Can you just relax?
Is it just that you get to a tier with your success to where everything costs you 50 times more than the average person and you have to sustain it? Like, Chris Pratt needing money from Pringles ads makes me stunned.
Yeah.
What the
I
hell?
think everyone needs money. Like, everyone's doing more than ever before, where there used to be a little bit of shame about that, like Lost in Translation, where you had to go international.
You had
and
to
now
go to Japan
nothing
to sell.
matters.
I still look at, I'll say it, I still look at when I see a celebrity, an A-list celebrity, have to do Lincoln commercials, I just say, how much do you need in life? What are you doing with your money?
Fragrance, cars, and
I don't.
There's a few that are like prestige-y.
I don't give them that.
Natalie Portman, Dior.
I don't give them
you
that.
give, like, you think Charlize Theron, J'adore Dior, you're like, ew.
I get mad. I just say, how much money do you need? Let a commercial.
What about like a watch? Tag Heuer.
Like if it was John Hamm.
Yeah.
I say to him, well,
he's Mercedes.
Yeah, but I just say.
That's respectable.
But I think that there's when you do ads, it either means you desperately need money or your career isn't going well, so you'll take whatever. Like Daniel Day-Lewis would never do a Rolex ad.
He won't do shit.
I know. He's not a great example. I know there's no shame, obviously.
No, I'm just saying, I think there's certain ones, like, to me, like being the voice of Mercedes, that's like the easiest job in the world.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, he does VO like probably like a few times a year, and it's like it pays for everything, and then you get to make more fun acting choices because you have your baseline covered.
Yeah.
You know?
I should just stay on track. I don't mean it unanimously. I mean specifically when I watch Chris Pratt say, I love Pringles because they have the perfect shape of chip. I'm like, Chris Pratt, you have $100 million. What is going on in your life that you needed $10 million more from Pringles ad?
Yeah. And then he tore down that beautiful house. He's just fucking
Don't get me started on Chris Pratt. I used to like him.
What happened to us?
All right, let's frame this in terms of Jax and Brittany, because I do feel like their marriage is the showcase. And I want to talk about this. This is controversial. I hate when Turtle Time gets controversial, but I do feel like the Bravo fan base is divided in terms of how to think about this. Because on the one hand, we never want to be on Jax's side. But on the other hand, is there a world where Brittany, unfortunately, It's not her fault.
Yeah.
Every time she drinks liquor,
Yeah.
she's sick for a day and barfs.
Yeah.
That's there? No one is saying it like that. Jax
Yeah.
is saying it, but nobody is just saying, Brittany, every time you have a shot of tequila or a shot of sake, do you get sick in your stomach and have to barf? And are you sick for a day?
Yeah.
And I know no shame in drinking. I'm drinking right now, and I love to drink. But if I had an ailment that made me barf and sick, it's not out of the equation that someone would say to me, Riley, you barf every time you have orange wine.
It's over. Give it up.
But you love orange wine, but you barf every time. I
Yeah.
don't want to clean up all your barf the next day after you've had it. So I'm just wondering, is there any merit? Because I know I already saw Andy Cohen's reaction. He was like, Jax was absolutely despicable when he was
Yeah.
talking about Brittany's drinking,
Yeah.
screaming at her for being sick. But I feel like he's saying over and over, I've been dealing with this for 8 years. Brittany drinks and then is sick for a day, vomiting.
Yeah.
Did you get the sense that it's almost after any drink that
Mhm.
Brittany has this reaction?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like many-fold. So like I think that's true. We've been seeing it, there's evidence that people, the clips have been flying about on Vanderpump Rules, her being shown that she has an ulcer, that she shouldn't drink, and then they go to Mexico and she immediately does tequila shots.
Yeah.
It sounds like that problem has not gotten better, if not worse. She also reveals she doesn't have a gallbladder, which doesn't help. So she historically already has a baseline issue, which for a lot of people probably would be enough to just not drink.
Yeah.
Like someone that wasn't really a drinker would be like, yeah, I don't really drink because it kind of like flares up. It's like the way people like are like, I can't eat dairy, whatever.
Uh-huh.
But drinking is just too important to her. She can't give it up, which I get. I live in fear of something making me stop being allowed to drink because I love it.
Nothing will ever happen to you in terms of drinking. I know it. That's the Riley Hamilton
drinking
guarantee.
to the grave.
You are allowed to drink. That Schwartz said something like to this effect, which I thought was very smart of him. He goes, I love drinking so much that I never want it to be a problem. That's why I play intermittently with drinking. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Like
Respect the sauce.
Respect it. Don't go overboard because you don't want to lose it in your life if you are a drinker. But I have to say one thing. Brittany does not like beer or wine or seltzers. She only loves shots of tequila and sometimes sporadically shots of sake, and those make her sick. Has she ever tested having an Ashland seltzer?
Right.
Or
I feel like the wine,
a cider?
The wine might be a little acidic for her.
That's fine.
You know what I mean?
That's fine.
But,
and if she has, I'll give her that. If she's already tried it, but I don't know if I've seen evidence of her not going instantly to liquor, which makes her...
Sure. Yeah, I believe that there's some level of validity to what Jax is saying, and I never want to give him any credence, but the way that he went about it, which was essentially humiliation and public shame, is not cool.
Yeah. So they are right in both saying, Jax is like, I have this problem. It's because you drink, get sick. And Brittany has this problem, which is you berate me and scream at me and embarrass me publicly in front of my mom, in front of Mima, and all this stuff. So they're both right in a way.
Yeah. And it's also I've seen a lot of discourse about the fact that potentially her stress about keeping her relationship intact, and the fact that I think she actually hates him because he makes her feel like shit.
Yeah.
And he stresses her out because he's always like, what you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that if you have an ulcer or I've had stress agita, where instead of anxiety med, I would take a Pepto because I would just get heartburn from being stressed.
Oh, what were you stressed about?
Whatever.
Yeah.
But I can imagine a world in which her body is rejecting her life, period, and then she's drinking more, and then she's getting sick, and I don't know, I feel like her life will improve when she's at peace.
Yeah. I didn't really, not believe, but I'm still convinced that her body cannot process hard liquor, and she doesn't want to give up hard liquor yet, which understandable.
Yeah.
I never would. If that's all you can drink and you want to get drunk and have fun.
She needs to take out the variable
Yes.
Like, it's like, try not drinking, period. And
Yeah.
we'll see how you feel, and then we'll assess.
I wouldn't even go that far. I would say, Brittany, I would say, I've got this thing. It's called tequila flavored Ashland that has lime in it. It's very similar to what you love about tequila and water, but it's not as potent
Yeah.
and might not, ruin your stomach. But
Yeah.
so all this to say, I can see why Jax has a short fuse in terms of how many times he's seen Brittany barfing in trash bags on her way to their home after a drunken weekend. I get it, but also there's a time and a place to not berate her in front of a bunch of cast members, and everyone says that to her.
Yeah.
Jesse, Jason, no one wants to deal with that Jax angry rage in front of everyone, and then that's when Brittany comes out and screams at him.
Yeah.
And it adds more fuel to, they're having a awful fight in this Big Bear home.
Yeah.
It kind of makes Jesse and Michelle look like Danny and Nia.
Right. And meanwhile, the gag of it all is like, he drank like an entire bottle of Casamigos, but he goes, well, I keep my shit together.
2. He said 2 full bottles of tequila.
Unfathomable to me.
I would be in a hospital for weeks if I drank even half a bottle of tequila in 6 hours.
That's unbelievable.
He said, and then he says, I can drink hard like that, and I never throw up, and I never get sick. So he's
Yeah.
like, that's why it's not an issue. And then Brittany, I will say, Brittany takes it to, when you chastise me in front of my friends, it makes me feel like I have a drinking problem. And I don't think that's what Jax is saying.
Mm-hmm.
He's not saying, I think my wife has a drinking problem. He's saying, I think my wife drinks and gets sick,
Yeah.
and then she can't function even for herself
Right.
for a day.
Right.
So I think that Brittany and him really need to just speak about that one specific issue and get to an agreement, because Brittany thinks he's saying one thing,
Yeah.
and Jax keeps trying to say the same thing, but he can't make Brittany understand because his language and communication skills are so
Yeah.
shitty that she instantly gets mad about how he communicates it to
Right.
her.
Well, that's why Janet is like, I highly recommend therapy because
Yeah.
you guys are not understanding each other
How
at
do you
all.
how do you feel about Janet overall?
I think she wants to be the queen bee,
Mhm.
which is a little annoying.
Someone said that she is taking cues from Stassi in the early seasons of Vanderpump Rules. I saw that.
Interesting.
Where someone said that I think Kristen accused her of that. She's like trying to be the Stassi of Vanderpump Rules, and she's taking her cues from how Stassi operated in the early Vanderpump Rules seasons.
Yeah. I mean, she definitely is kind of like a pro.
Yeah.
Like, she is very oriented in like when she did the phone call with the guys and Zach on the phone, like she knew what she was doing exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like she's very like in control, like all the people are pawns, and she is like aware of how she comes off, like how to react. Like I see the puzzle pieces. But she's doing a good job. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like kind of like respect.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, I'm keeping my eye on you.
Right. I think I would honor her because she's definitely has a prowess with how she operates in this universe.
Mhm.
I just wish that she wasn't using her power towards people that I love at this point. Like, I'm mad at her actively as a villain because of how she's treating Kristen, trying to ice her off the show. But I
Right.
have to give her credit for being able to maneuver like this and being one of the most powerful new cast members on the show. I mean, after Jesse, I would probably say Janet is the most entertaining or compelling aspect of the Valley so far.
Yeah.
Just given what she's doing
Sure.
amongst the cast.
Yeah. So yeah, there's like the morning after when Jax is still mad. He goes, I swear to God, if she has a cocktail tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm like, imagine if she had like a vodka, like a Bloody Mary, which is like pure acid.
How pissed he
It's
would
just
be.
like tomato vodka.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, we kind of skimmed over, but the boys at night have a like fireside chat, and everyone's just like sunburned, and like their drunk is like wearing out. So you know when you're just like
Yes.
exhausted after like a beach day, they're all just like weepy and like
That's what I chalked
tired.
That's what I chalked Danny's crying up to being. It's the end of a drunken day
In
when
the
you're really
sun.
tired. And he was still drunk.
Yeah.
You could tell how drunk he was. And he has just a good drunken cry in front of these guys.
Yeah.
He says, and I wanted to hear, because they kind of teased it like it was going to be this big, profound thing, like Nia cheats on me or
Yeah.
Nia takes advantage of me. But he was just like, it was like, I'm
tired.
tired and I feed babies every 3 hours. And they go, you're amazing.
You're
Danny,
a good man.
you're an amazing man. And I've never seen Jax like this. He is so tender and sweet to Danny. The one thing I love about the Valley is that we are seeing Jax with a new group of people, to where I knew how he interacted with everybody on Vanderpump Rules. I got used to his rhythms with every cast member, but I've never seen him interact like this with new people. Like, he's tender and sweet to Danny. He's like reporting to duty to Jesse.
Yeah.
Like, I love seeing Jax in this new environment with this new hierarchy of his friends.
Right.
It's really interesting.
Right. Yeah, and like Jax is like, yeah, I keep saying to that point, I'm not sure if I'm ready for another kid because it's so hard. And then Jesse's like, I want another kid so fucking bad, but we're gonna break up. And it's just like, God damn, there's a fucking disaster across the board.
And Jesse says, in this conversation, this drunken cry fest around the fire, he says, me and Michelle are done.
Yeah.
I've been ignoring all the signs, but I think that this is ending. And then they cut to Jason, and he's just
My
staring.
baby's due any minute.
And he does say, I really like this Jason moment. I think you need cast members like Jason. Like, people will say he's boring, he's not speaking enough, but you do need the even-keeled, level-headed person who just comes in. It's like an audience surrogate.
Sure.
He's smart, and he says, this is not what I expected from my baby moon.
Yeah, he talks about it with Janet later. He's like, did we do the right thing? Like, everyone's life sucks ass. Like, it's horrible. Also, I just remembered what the Dax tangent was supposed to be.
Oh, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, I forgot until
what
this
did I
moment. It
we
was
started
just
talking
that
about commercials.
he said that he hung out with Arnold Schwarzenegger and James Cameron, and that they're so alpha, but James Cameron out alphas Arnold.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean,
And
he's
that,
a director.
Like, normally Arnold would be like, have everyone whipped into shape of like what's coming next and like in control. But then when James Cameron arrives, Arnold's like reporting for duty, like James Cameron is in charge.
Oh, that is so awesome. I bet. I mean, James Cameron probably screams at everyone around him and just, why was Dax hanging out with him, if you don't mind me asking?
It's a good question. I think it was something with like motorcycles, I think, or something. But apparently Arnold asked Dax to like stump for him when he ran for governor.
You wouldn't do an Arnold saying Dax, would you?
Why don't you do it?
I can't.
It's like the old Conan mouth.
I just know if I went out on a limb and did Arnold Schwarzenegger saying Dax Shepard, I would blow it. So let's do theater of the mind. Just imagine that Amy and I did an impression of Arnold.
You could imagine it.
Yeah, of course. We already talked about where James Cameron was on 9/11, right?
Under the sea.
He was exploring the Titanic with. Well, this is not funny. What? It's not funny.
Slap that smile off your face.
But Bill Paxton and James Cameron,
yeah.
unfortunately, were using that crane on the Titanic trying to get the heart of diamonds or whatever. What's that?
Heart of the ocean.
They were trying to get the heart of the ocean with the claw, and then they're so excited because they got the claw on the heart of diamond. And then when they get up,
Heart of diamond.
And then when they get up, they go 9/11 just happened, and Bill Paxton goes, "Oh,
fuck." Like we should have stayed under.
All right. Okay, that was good.
Okay, we're gonna get back on board. We had like a sip of wine and we're already like, Jesus.
Good tangent. Okay. What else
so
happened?
the morning after.
I want to ask you, when Danny cried and he said, "I keep breastfeeding these kids every 2 hours," did you get endeared to Danny a little bit? And when he was getting Napoleon complex wrong and doing all that kind of stuff, did you like? I kind of saw. I was like,
he came out of his shell a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, this guy is like, he's drunk.
Well, next week it looks like he's gonna pop off more.
Yeah,
like he tells Nia like, "Shut up."
He does.
No, not shut up. But he says like, he like tells her like. He sort of like is like mean to her a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, that's not good. And he also got a little sassy with Michelle. And Michelle goes, "Don't talk to me like that again, Danny. Save that for your wife." And I was like, damn, Danny's kind of like rubbing, what's it called? Feathers?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Was this the that boys crying session, then no one had eaten dinner yet, and Janet was like slaving at like 9 months pregnant and comes out to be like, what's going on, like, are we eating or whatever? And is it Jesse that's like, no, get the fuck out of here?
Yeah, he goes, get the hell out of here, we're crying. And then she gets pissed because she was hungry. They're taking way too long. They're crying too much. Then Jason has to placate Janet, and he goes, I'm wrong. I should have considered my wife. And then they get over
He wraps that up real quick.
Oh,
he's like, I'm wrong.
It was perfect. He handled it.
Masterclass.
Yeah. I want to give credit to Danny, because while he's crying, like, it is an underrated thing to talk about when he was talking about, like, I'm not thick-skinned when it comes to friendships. When Jesse was like, yeah, I thought you were somebody that I could just like beat up and physically punch, but I guess you weren't made of that kind of stuff or whatever. And Danny's like, yeah, I don't do that kind of stuff with my friends. I like that, because I've never seen that. Like in this realm of Bravo, I've never seen a conversation between two guys talking about the limits of like physicality with their relationship.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, like at night, it's like everyone talking Brittany off the ledge. She has like a cold towel on her head, and she says that Jax is sucking the life out of her.
Yeah, she says, I had a huge sparkle, and it's like it's basically sucked up into nothing.
That's so sad. And then in the morning, Jax apologizes to her. She like makes it known in the kitchen to everyone that he apologized. Like, she really tries to be his like PR representative. I'm like, let them be pissed at him if they want. You know?
And they got over it pretty quick in the morning for an explosive conversation where Brittany screams in a room full of everyone and saying "fuck off" to Jax.
Yeah,
it kind of was pretty easy for Jax to get out of it. He goes, "I'm sorry, I overreacted. I shouldn't have yelled at you like that." And then they have sort of a miscommunication, and then Jax says he does what Jason did. He goes, "I'm sorry, I'll never do that again."
Right. And also Brittany has a quote that was like, one shot is not a drinking problem. And it's just like very funny because shots are so like specific. Like, on one hand, I kind of get it because like, so like my boyfriend Jimmy, he's a light drinker. Like, he really keeps his shit tight. Like, he'll usually have like 2 beers, like if we're out or whatever. Like, he doesn't drink in excess usually. I do that. Me too. But sometimes he'll surprise me and he will do a shot, and I'm like, I guess if you're only gonna have like 2 drinks in a night, a shot is perfect because it's just clean and it like gets you there, and it's like whatever. But like, it is associated with like partying.
Yeah, totally.
So it's funny that that's like the only way she wants to drink. It's just like not associated with moderation.
But
like, it could be.
Yeah, if you said, I have 3 drinks a night, it's 3 shots of tequila, 1 every hour, I guess.
Yeah.
But you do associate, let's do a shot, let's supplement our binge drinking for the night with a fun, uproarious shot.
Exactly.
But that's the only outlet Brittany has for her drinking, is a shot that is the equivalent of 1 drink.
Right.
Did you ever take driver's ed where they say, I'm looking at the chart right now in my mind's eye, where it's like one shot equals 2 beers equals 1 cocktail.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's all about you can play the game however you want. It's about how many drinks per hour or whatever. But it's just funny that,
this is probably wrong and not good, but I would love to be a part of Brittany's like drinking journey to see if, I don't know if she
find her sweet spot.
Yeah, I don't know if she missed out on the Mike's Hard Lemonade era.
Loverboy.
Or Loverboy, where it's like, I know you say you don't like beer, but did you go through what we all did when we were drinking Miller Lights and saying this is the worst piss I've ever tasted in my life, and then eventually you drink enough of them to where your taste bud, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I just wish that we could I would like to see if there was a happy medium where a bunch of seltzer drinks or cider didn't upset Brittany and cause her to barf.
Maybe carbonation fucks with her gut too.
Possibly, but there must be some beautiful drink that she could have that would...
She should create it.
Brittany's stomach proof...
Elixir?
Wait.
It has like Malox in it.
Yeah. Brittany's no bad stomach elixir that gets you...
Sour stomach, clean up.
That would fit really well with Mima's beer cheese. It's
Exactly.
Mima's beer cheese, and then it's a mixer that Brittany made, sort of like the prison punch or whatever that you're
Yeah.
talking about, where it's like
With
Brittany's
crushed
home
up Tums in it.
Brittany's homespun Malax mixer, where it helps your stomach, but it also has that tinge of alcohol to get you where you want to
It
go.
could come in like a moonshine jar.
Brittany, Amy and I just made you $1 million at Jackson Studio City. If you make a stomach-proof drink that you sell only at Jackson Studio City, you'll be kicking people out of the door, right?
Totally.
Okay, good. Are we
okay.
done with the valley?
We have to talk about the most iconic thing.
Oh, what was that?
So it's revealed. Janet in the morning, she goes,
Oh, of
I
course.
didn't sleep a wink last night. I wish I didn't see what I saw
And they go-
on Instagram.
And they go, Janet, why? What was it? Right?
Yeah. And they go, Zach posted a story on Instagram. And they show it, and it's just a black screen with a tiny geotag in the center that if you squint your eyes and look closely, it says Big Bear Lake, California. And she's like shaken to her fucking core, thinking that he's like crawling in the crawl space under the house.
Yes.
Like watching her sleep. Like she's like, what the hell?
Yes, because you could mistake the darkness of the post for him being physically in the dark outside of their cabin, potentially waiting to surprise them. And she says, wreak havoc upon their baby moon. That's why it was so the perfect amount of ominous while also trolling, to where I think it was one of the most iconic stories that I've ever seen in Bravo history.
I was screaming. Like, I thought it was so funny because it's so like, it's like such a like go fuck yourself.
Yes.
Like, it's so funny.
But you could be in Janet's brain thinking that Jax was at like in the woods outside. Oh, what
you
did I
said
say?
Jax.
Oh. That Zach was in Big Bear just in the dark, potentially partying on his own, and maybe he was going to party crash the Big Bear trip. Like, you could see a little bit
Sure.
how it was read ominously, right?
Of course. But it's perfect because she read it. He was mind fucking her, and
Yes.
it worked.
And she didn't sleep a wink.
Which then she's like, he's trying to like kill my baby.
Yeah. And then she says at the end, when she's justifying it, she goes, I didn't sleep all night. She goes, him purposefully making me scared, like he was possibly outside of my window going to crawl in while I was sleeping. He scared me, and I have to consider that mean. And I was thinking, what you did was really mean.
Yeah.
You didn't invite him on
Yeah.
a trip, on a cast trip.
Yeah.
So
and
this is
like, if he's here, that means Kristen's here too. And she's like, I'm going to call 911.
yeah. And you haven't justified to the audience where this hatred for Kristen came, so I couldn't even go there with her at all. Like, that Kristen would be the bridge too far for that.
This was the second evoking of calling 911 on Bravo this season. Remember, Ariana was like, I'm under attack. I'm calling 911.
Oh yeah. Do you I mean, I don't mind if people call it.
You know what? I've considered getting a landline because apparently you get through to 911 faster.
Why?
I don't know. It's just like the landline has a direct road in over a cell phone, I guess.
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think of if I would get that now too.
I watched a John Oliver once about 911, and it is horrifying. They take fucking forever.
Really?
Yeah.
But they must have a hierarchy of Zach is outside of my cabin versus someone is coming to kill me, possibly.
They're like, ma'am, I'm going to need you to calm down. Is there a man who looks like he's wearing a Lego wig outside your window, or is it something worse?
And she's like, no, but the whole story is black, which basically could be the darkness outside of the cabin.
Ma'am?
Yeah. I thought the reason it was perfect is because it could be interpreted both ways. That's
Yeah.
why it was the perfect. But I did like the version that he hypothesized where Kristen and him could have gone in the woods and location tagged and pretended like they actually were in
Yeah.
Big Bear with a scenic background.
Totally.
That would've been good, too.
great. Yeah, and then really just the rest is the boys on the boat talking about
They're shitty.
how they like their women, the Napoleon complex, which I also wanted to bring up that on that horrible Watch What Happens Live with Jesse and what's her name? Michelle
Bateau.
It was a bad episode. But they played a game where they had a shady Napoleon.
Yeah.
And they had Napoleon saying, I may be small, ho, but my empire keeps on growing. And we have made that joke before.
Wait. I didn't know that he said that.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did we ever post that?
I don't remember.
So that must have been that has to be a like
Unless-
minds thing,
yeah.
right? I mean, but
We made that joke around the time the movie Napoleon came out.
yeah,
I think.
I didn't know that Napoleon said that out of his mouth.
Yeah, he did.
It was like, this is why this episode of The Valley was so good to me, because it had Jax and Brittany fighting their asses off. It had Zach's iconic post, and then it had an interpretation of Napoleon Complex that I never thought I would hear in my life, because Napoleon Complex is one of the most taken for granted phrases in history.
Easy to understand.
It's what almost everyone knows, and I love how convinced Danny was that he was right, that short people who never date people taller than them.
So specific.
Yeah. So that was great.
Jesse sort of shits on Jax on the boat, and then Jax is like makes the misstep of saying that his marriage is also on the fence, and he's like, I didn't mean to say that.
Freudian slip.
Yeah.
Jesse tries to psychoanalyze Jax, and I like that Jesse is smart while also being like bordering on evil, but I didn't really think he got to Jax. What he was
No.
saying. He was like Brittany wears the pants, but you rip them off the minute she starts to put them on or something. And then he was like, your instinct is to fight. You're always fighting to prove yourself as Jax. And I was like, I don't know, Jesse, if what you're saying is the real root of why Jax screams all the time.
Right. And then Jax is like, we don't believe in divorce. We don't believe in separation. She's going to have to bury me in the backyard. And I'm like, well, she might.
You mean because what would that mean if he died? You mean if they stayed married until he unfortunately died first, she would bury him?
I think so. Also on the Watch What Happens, it's revealed that both Michelle and Jesse already have boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how quickly they moved on. And then that's when Jesse said, he goes, if you had a reunion, Andy, you would be hearing all about this.
Yeah.
But he said that the boyfriend already came over to his house for Isabella's.
Yeah, their kid has already met both of their new partners.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe slow your roll on that one.
Yeah, they were sputtering on fumes by the time The Valley started, and they were so ready to already start new relationships.
Yeah.
Just to finish this conversation, when Zach sent that story, like, I was kind of on the Zach train when he cried about Janet, because nothing endears me to someone more than when they cry. And I root for the underdog. But when he sent that iconic post, did Zach's estimation meter in your mind go like way up? Like, do you like Zach more now because he did that?
Yeah.
I think I started thinking like the first 3 episodes, I thought he was hamming it up and he wasn't very fun. And I felt like he was playing up the audience surrogate factor too much. But I feel like now that I'm getting to know him more, like I really appreciate his contribution to the show.
Yeah.
They're all kind of blossoming. I mean, even I guess you could maybe say that Nia has given us the reason why she's not shining, because she's so depressed. So even she has merit, because people are finding value in that storyline too.
Yeah, one of our turtle cuties sent a clip of Zach on the new season of Hacks.
I saw that.
I didn't know he's an actor.
I think so. I think everyone in the Bravo
That's
universe.
always to be expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good.
All right.
The Valley brought me joy to talk about it.
Yeah.
Did it bring
it
you
was
joy?
fun. Yeah. And then we have to now go into the sad chamber of the storyline getting out of hand on a Summer House.
Yeah, and we'll go high level on that. We have the 3 top line incidents, but I'm so sorry, but I need to take another break, and then we'll come right back. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Amy, guess what?
What?
I just found out I got a message from LinkedIn. I'm on a roll.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what is happening, but I'm making...
Multiple people checked out your profile?
Yes, multiple people. And do you want it? Yeah, and it's amazing. They show me who it was and everything.
Do you do pro?
I have before when I desperately needed a job, so I'm definitely going to do that soon. But no, I'm not doing that now. They just said, Riley, you're on a roll. You're one of the most viewed people on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn's where it's at.
I think it is so cool. Okay, well, let's talk about Well,
Speaking of boss bros,
yeah, and speaking of business-oriented stuff, this summer house
CEO.
had a lot of lover boy talk and the implications of running a multi-million-dollar company that could
Yes.
possibly be tanking.
Yeah. So yeah, this episode picks up where it left off. Kyle is losing his fucking mind.
He runs into his BMW and is bawling, crying.
Yeah,
He's the second person that night to cry in a car.
it's true.
Because Jesse, that same night,
Yeah.
yeah, that same night had already cried when they got back, and he was crying about something, about health issue, and then Kyle is crying about how he feels misunderstood about Loverboy.
Yeah, and Carl and Danielle are commiserating about understanding the plight of the business person. Danielle goes to check on Kyle and make sure he's not driving, which luckily he's blocked in. Can't go anywhere.
I thought it was really funny that she accused him of possibly driving.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like, why did you have to make that leap? Like,
Right.
he wouldn't go drive his BMW right then after he's drunk on camera.
Right. Yeah.
Also, I thought that Danielle was a little overboard with her Kyle sympathy.
Yeah.
I was just like, all right, Kyle's crying, and he said that Amanda disgusts me, and he's fucking done. But did you really have to say, like, I fully understand the mindset of a CEO and what he goes through, and if Amanda can't appreciate him, I don't know what the hell she's thinking. It's like they could have both had a little more nuance there. What Kyle's saying is not gospel.
Right.
You know what I
and
mean?
Carl's like, trust me when I say I understand. Like, you more than you'll ever know.
Yeah, they were validating Kyle's feelings a little too much. I would never accuse that many people of doing that, but they were giving Kyle a lot of leeway for this cry sesh and really putting it on Amanda, even though I think even Kyle would probably be embarrassed about his overblown reaction to this.
Right. Yeah, so this is where like Jesse, I think, had like already been crying in the car. Then he's crying in his room, and West goes to check on him, and he hugs him, and he's comforting him, and it's very sweet. And this is where Jesse reveals that he, to use his words, felt something in his nut.
Yeah, there's nothing to me scarier. I am such a hypochondriac. I could not imagine the misery that Jesse is in. I would just go to an emergency room and make them diagnose me immediately. Like, I could not wait until
he has
Tuesday.
to wait till Tuesday.
It's awful. And Wes is being, very sweet to him. Like, this is a new friend.
I know. That's what I keep thinking about. Like, they haven't known each other that long, he's coming through.
They'll be bonded for life.
For sure. But I love, all the guys plus Danielle, one of the guys, decided to go out, which I was like, they really like turned up. Like, Carl stayed out.
Yeah, it was a club, and I've never seen a like Hamptons club. Like, it was. Did you see? It was like
bumping.
Yeah, and everyone stays out till like 3:30.
They bust. Did you see that meme? Someone posted like, I think it was like Big Bird or something, like a meme of like a big. I think it was Big Bird, but like, whatever, busting in a door, and it was like the summer house people when they get home from the club because their door's all fucked up. And
I
they
didn't
like
see
kick
that.
it in.
Yeah.
And like Jesse's wearing no shoes. He's like carrying one shoe.
His shirt's a strew.
And I'm like, he deserves to get fucked up tonight. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I would have gotten so drunk just like him.
Yeah. West falls out of his chair.
Yeah.
And
then,
I'm like, the fact that Carl could, without drinking, hang out with people till 3:30 in the morning. I'm like, that's kind of amazing.
Dude, that was so cool. Did you see? Was Danielle like drinking a shot off Jesse's chest? Did you see that?
Oh.
When Wes falls over, I was like, "What is Danielle doing over there?" I almost had like, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. Well, I liked when the other girls are like, "Are you gonna go out?" And they're like, "I don't want to go out with just the boys." And one of them is like, "Well, and Danielle," and they're like, "Doesn't count."
Yeah.
Like, she's really fucked.
Danielle.
She's like on an island completely.
We've talked about this. She misjudged the Paige stuff. She really blew it with Gabby. And then her moments, she's not being, she's not in the spotlight. And so far, you can only judge her by the 2 or 3 times that she's flopped. And again, this Kyle sympathy was kind of a flop for Danielle.
Right.
It's hard to justify. Also, it was so, I guess, so Kyle of him to come home at 3:30 and try to instigate things with Amanda. Like, she's going to want to cuddle him at 3:30 after he's just come back from a club after crying and screaming and calling her a bitch after a night out.
I know. It's enough.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday, Carl and Lindsay wake up and she's like, can we talk about yesterday, like their fight that they had in the kitchen or whatever? And she's honestly, you'll be surprised to hear it, she was pretty like level-headed and honestly just like, can we, like, what is happening?
Yes.
She's pretty justified in her questions. Like,
Yeah.
she wasn't flying off the handle. She was just like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And he says that he wants softness and tenderness, which I feel like he should know will come off poorly. Like, that's like a weird request. Like,
Yeah.
in a sense, I know what he means, but at the same time, it sounds whack.
Yeah, he's whittled down like what he wants from Lindsay. Like, there were so many other issues that he was focused on and he was bringing into the equation, and then he finally settled on just softness and tenderness. And I think Lindsay was more realistic in analyzing what was really the problem here, and he just whittled it down to like, you've chastised me for all past business things. I just want you to be sweet to me about Loverboy.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. And then this is when she then gets the ammo to do her impression of like hunky dory, like
Yeah, Stepford wife.
yeah, like I support you completely no matter what. Which, you know, she has done before and it's like annoying and historically has not been what he's asking for, but which is why I'm like, why are you phrasing it that way where she gets to act like that's what you're requesting again?
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Yes, you're right. And there is a middle ground between Lindsay being a Stepford wife and just being overly positive and like criticizing business decisions, but I just don't
Right.
think that Carl is articulating it well. The thing that triggered him was just that when she shot down the Loverboy thing, he got really, really defensive.
Yeah.
And he's using all the past chastisement to inform how pissed he is at her right now.
Yeah, the thing is, like, so I've seen the entire internet completely do a
Oh, yeah.
180 and
It's
like
over.
he's fucking done.
It's over for Carl.
And I'm like, it's so frustrating to watch because I'm like, you fucking blew it, dog. Like, you had everyone in your corner. But at the same time, it's like, we're watching it all unfold in real time. So it's like, at the beginning, he didn't say shit to her, even when she was horrific, because he was too scared of her and like beaten down. So like it was very clear that it was one-sided and you could feel sorry for him because you're like, he's not speaking up for himself. Like, she's being cruel. Like, the stuff she's doing is unacceptable. And then the second it became more of a like tit for tat and just a little bit more like they're incompatible, period, people just completely flipped and were like, I see what she meant all along. And I'm like, no, like, he's just done now.
Yeah.
Like, he's fucking over it. So
Right.
he's like, now I will be an asshole, which isn't good. It's not mature. It's not healthy. But it's like, we watched every step of what got him to be like, fuck this. And we're like, him being an asshole here and like with the luggage that we're going to talk about and like all of that. I'm like, this is a man that's like 1 week away from breaking off his engagement.
Yeah. So
Like, he's on the edge.
do you think, because there is a theory that he's like already 1 foot out the door
Yeah.
and he's using pathetic examples to justify why he's going to stop this train from going to the station, marriage.
Mhm.
I'm not there yet. I think at this point, Carl still wants the marriage to go forward.
Sure.
Do you, I mean,
Well, I think
you
it
can-
was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know, like, at what. We'll know when we see how that conversation goes down
What
in
if
the
we're-
finale.
What if Carl blows it so bad in the final talk and it's the most garbled, shitty rationale for why he wants to postpone the wedding? And we're like, yeah, Lindsay, I don't know what Carl was trying to say.
Yeah.
You're like, there
It's
is,
possible.
he allowed the evidence. If we were a jury judging
Yeah, yeah,
this
yeah.
relationship, he did enter into evidence, or Lindsay did
Yeah.
enter into evidence, blindside
Yeah.
evidence there that we have to
I know,
consider.
that's the thing. I'm like, this is like with both Vanderpump and Summer House at this point, like, since
Yeah.
it is like a trial at this point for specifically like essentially men versus women, like, I kind of like am annoyed that it's become that
Yeah.
because then it feels like you have to like be putting down
Yeah.
like with like we'll get into the Paige and Sierra of it all, and like the sounding board of the fucking after show.
Yeah.
The siloed
Yeah.
opinions that happen in the after show. I'm like, all right, let's get to the reunion because I can't deal with these little talk boxes where everyone just agrees with the person next to them and gets to like pop off completely. It's
Yeah.
like getting a little much.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, how about like Lindsay, a woman, treated Carl, a man, like absolute fucking shit. And now he is handling it poorly and trying to give it back to her in a way that's not great, but probably understandable when you look at the span of their relationship. And it's like with Kyle, I'm like, he's being a fucking dick about the Amanda shit for sure. Like, I hate how he's going about this. It sucks. But I'm also like, he clearly is like about to fucking break.
Yeah.
Like, he needs to like figure out what's going on because I do have sympathy for him. Like, he's like freaking out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel bad for him. Like,
Yeah.
everyone's just like, he's a little bitch. And I'm like, I mean, it's reminding me of like Bethany during the skinny girl $100 million phase where she was like losing her fucking mind during that time. And I'm like, I'm not trying to defend the CEO mindset or whatever, but I'm like, I don't want to ever deal with that level of responsibility.
Right.
And Amanda doesn't either. I saw some comments were like, make Amanda the CEO. I'm like, she doesn't want that. Like,
No.
what the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
Everyone's gone insane.
It's a little bit. I think we talked about it earlier this episode. I could be wrong, but there is a week by week assessment of everyone that doesn't take
Very fickle.
very fickle. That doesn't take into account the longevity of these cast members' overall personality arcs.
Yeah.
And so, like, well, and I also think that there's a lot of new fans to all these shows now post Scandival, and they don't know. Well, I mean, I'm not saying that this is like bandwagon fans or whatever, but I'm just saying it's like there is a lot of history there to where, like, I think I talked about this last week, where it's like, if you understand Kyle as a person, that ultimately he's a good person, you allow for a lot of leeway with the times when he freaks out and cries and screams and being a dickhead.
Yeah. Well, even people are already willing to like throw West in a trash can because he's not like
Is
being
that true?
Yeah.
I haven't seen
The
that.
comments are like, what a loser. Like, get a grip.
Because he wants to have sex so bad?
Because neither, in my opinion, him or Sierra are being very clear about their desires. Just fucking say it. But yeah, I saw a TikTok of a guy, his wife showed him Summer House for the first time and he watched last week's, and it was Carl being a dick and Kyle being an asshole. And he was like, yeah, like, these guys are fucking wimps. The girls are the badasses, like, blah, blah, blah. And all the comments were like, wow, he got it immediately. Like, wow, only took one ep and he was on the right side of history. I'm like, you showed him the fucking ultimate worst episode of their behavior. Like, we've been watching for like 8 years.
Right. I mean, yeah. He called a crying guy a wimp. Right? Is that the is that the example of a good read
like,
on?
It's so nuanced.
Right.
Like,
It is. And I people were, I forget if it's champing or chomping, but people were champing at the bit to be back on Team Lindsay's side because they had always been. And then the Cocaine Carl thing made it hard for them. But then as time went on, they're like, wait. Wait, I think we've got something here. We're back on Team Lindsay. So anyway, we'll see. The jury is still out. Carl could actually really, now I've allowed for the possibility that Carl really could fuck this thing up royally.
know. It's really scary. So yeah, he brings up the PowerPoint, which I didn't even remember was the Stravi thing.
Yeah, I barely remembered it too. That's a low blow.
Yeah, and he's like, so I'll make a PowerPoint. Does that work for you? And she goes, so now you're mocking me. And he goes, yeah, how does it feel? Which I've been there. Like, whenever you get to that point, you're like, okay, so we're just being petty now.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like that's where you
Being
want to
mean.
live. Okay.
Being mean.
Yeah.
On purpose.
And she's like, what is wrong with you? And he's like, what's wrong with you? And she's like, are you sure you even want to marry me? Because I'm never going to be like sunshine and rainbows or whatever.
Yeah.
And he goes, are you sure you want to marry me? Because I'm not always going to be Mr. Nice Guy. And I was like, you guys.
And he goes, I want two things: softness and tenderness.
Yeah.
You want to go to the second part of that talk, just to, because
Sure.
it's almost right after.
Yeah.
Carl is packing his bag, sort of in a in a mood.
Yeah.
He's like, I got to get back. We just had a horrible fight again.
Yeah.
And I think in Carl's mind, he doesn't like to let things sit bad. Like, be in a bad mood for a long time.
Yeah.
And if he had his way, he would use the 3-hour Hampton car ride to resolve this simmering feud. But Lindsay, which well within her right, I fully understand the desire to want to take a little Carl break,
Sure.
go to Dockers, party her ass off, and then have Danielle drive her home and take 6 hours away from Carl.
Sure.
So I get both sides. I get that Carl feels lonely and sad that he has to drive alone when his relationship isn't good, because I know he would use that opportunity to try to make things right.
Yeah, I think Lindsay's playing a little bit dumb about what she was doing, because if you listen to the dynamic of like, I agree. I'm like, she should go. I'm the ultimate like do your own thing girl. Like, I'm never the one that's going to be like, I must drive home with my partner and be like, I'm going to do my own thing. Like, I'm for that. Like, if anything, historically, we've complained about them being attached to the hip, and it's been annoying. But historically, they've been attached to the hip. He said on the after show, they've never, both while engaged, dating, and before, ever driven separately.
No.
So that's an agreement they have. And everyone else is kind of a little bit more flip-flop about, like, on this episode, Paige, despite having just fought with Kyle, goes, can I drive home with you? Amanda sometimes will drive home with someone else, not Kyle. Like, they're all kind of like, all cars going back to the city, whatever. They've always driven back. So obviously that's an agreement.
Yes.
Like 100%. They always go together. So understanding that, it's a bigger deal that without even telling him, she's hopping cars and he heard it from someone else.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a fuck you.
Yes.
I totally understand why she wanted to do it, and she could have been like, we're not vibing right now. I'm going with Danielle. And then he would have had to be like, fine.
Yeah. That's exactly how I feel. It's more than just Carl passive aggressively crying about the suitcase. It's more about he doesn't want to let a relationship problem bubble up for an extended period of time, that she didn't include him in this decision to leave him alone on that ride to the Hamptons.
Right. But then, he's being a little bit obtuse about, like, she's like, well, I'll put the luggage in your car. And he goes, oh, so, you're putting your luggage in our car, even though you're driving in the other car? Yeah,
he goes, let me get this straight. Your luggage in our car, even though you, Dockers, Danielle. It's like,
what the fuck don't you understand? You're sober. Like, get it together.
You know what she means. You're just mad that she, like you said, that she made this decision without you. And why I sympathize is, like, I would be like Carl in this situation. I would not want to have knowing that me and my partner are not doing good for those 6 hours or whatever. Like, I would want the closeness and the opportunity. So I kind of felt for him in that scenario.
Yeah. And then it's like horrible Carl PR, because then you see her lugging like an 80-pound suitcase down the stairs, which West helps her with. And she gets to the door and he's fucking left already.
And there's no pro Carl that he forgot. It's a vindictive, passive aggressive move, racing off without, right?
It's wild.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean,
because it's like bitchy. Like, it's
he's
just like
zooming off without a luggage.
Fuck you.
Yeah, he said on the after show, I don't know if you watched, but he said he went to a football game. He had the best day of his life. Lindsay got home. They fought. And they slept in different rooms.
Yeah.
So that
she accused him also of, like, because I like that you said football, very European. It was soccer.
What did I say?
Football.
I said football. Oh my gosh, that you can tell that we've been recording for 2 hours and 41 minutes if I said football. Soccer.
But he had bought them tickets or whatever, and she accuses him on the after show of needing her to be his +1 because of like sponsorship opportunities. Like, he was using her for clout or something.
When did she say that?
On the after show.
She said, wait, we needed a +1 where? At the soccer game?
She was implying that he only wanted her to go to that game really bad because it would behoove him as, like, having 2 influencers there.
And not that he wanted to be with her as her boyfriend or her fiance.
She was, like, kind of grasping at straws. And honestly, I find it genuinely hard to watch her and Gabby, like, spout off, because it's kind of pathetic. I'm gonna say it.
Well, it's Gabby knows that I think that she thinks that she has to validate absolutely everything that Lindsay says.
She's acting like she's her legal counsel.
Yeah.
Like she's like, my client
Yeah.
was wronged by
Yeah.
the defendant. Like, I'm like, can you fucking chill? Like, do you
Yeah.
have any opinions?
Yeah, I agree with that. Did you want to go to Dockers at all when they were talking about it? I kind of wanted to know what it was.
I imagine it's like probably like one of those day clubs they always go to, you know,
Yeah,
where
it
they
sounded
drink
kinda fun.
Hampton's water, which I just found out is owned by John Bon Jovi's son.
Really?
Yeah.
Son. What'd you call
Hampton's water
Oh,
owned
yeah, and
by
what's-
Bon Jovi's son.
John Bon Jovi? Okay. Oh, right, his son.
And I think he's married to Millie Bobby Brown for another tongue twister.
Son Bon Jovi is.
Son
Son Bon Jovi Jr. is
Millie
married to.
Bobby Brown.
Are you telling me Son Bon Jovi Jr. is married to Millie Bobby Brown?
Correct.
Whoa, I didn't know who Millie Bobby Brown was dating.
Married.
They're married?
Yeah.
Oh, did you ever watch Stranger Things?
I think I watched like 2 seasons.
Me too. I can't believe it's still on. You
It's
know,
like
they're
huge IP. Talk about IP. Do that calculation.
Stranger Things times movie times blockbuster month of June, $100 million, right?
That checks out.
Wait, what are we talking about last? Kyle crying?
Yeah.
Kyle cries.
So he's very upset. Carl sort of, you know,
Carl,
comforts him in the bedroom.
Carl goes, no one knows how heavy the crown of a CEO lies upon thy head.
Yeah.
If anyone knows, I know how
Obviously.
it's like. He goes, I saw you and Amanda. I saw Loverboy. I know how horrible it is. So believe you me, I know how bad you've got it right now.
Right. But actually that was after he's comforting him after he's
Oh.
crying because Paige and Sarah sort of gang up on him.
They ripped him a new one.
Yeah.
They said, Kyle, why can't you let Amanda be happy? And he
I
says,
wish that Sierra didn't join because I feel like him and Paige maybe could have gotten somewhere.
yeah.
Like she started out from an understanding place
Yes.
and he was being kind of like a brat for sure. But I feel like him and Paige have a better rapport.
Yeah.
And then the second Sierra came in, it was like girls versus boys. And I was like, this isn't productive. Like I wish she like stayed away.
Yeah. And he said that they are grossly oversimplifying what he's going through. It's not about him not wanting Amanda to be happy. It's that his business is floundering and he feels almost underwater with the amount of stress and all the shit it takes to go to Loverboy. And Sierra says something about, what does she say, that to instigate the tanking thing? She says like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
would Loverboy
could tank tomorrow.
Oh,
like
and
your
your
marriage
marriage.
is more important.
And
And
he
he
goes-
goes, Loverboy is tanking.
I can't believe he said, Kyle is so Loverboy, like everything about the success of Loverboy, he's so, everything is about how to promote Loverboy. I could not believe, it was shocking to me that Kyle would admit on camera that
Yeah.
Loverboy is not doing well financially.
Right. I mean, am I dumb? I feel like that doesn't worry me that much. I'm like, they're a fairly new brand. It feels like they kind of expanded pretty quickly. Like, I don't know. I feel like it takes a while to get in the green. I think they could get there.
Okay. I'm not it, like you said, I'm not a CEO, but I would just like, if they're $3 million in debt, I would get worried.
Well, sure. I mean, but it's like, I need more info.
Right. Like, what's the spreadsheet
Right.
say?
Yeah.
Then Kyle cries up in his room, like we
Yeah.
said.
The thing I've been taking issue with is that people are really biting onto his sort of offhanded remark that he was like, well, if we're going to just do whatever we want, then I'm going to be a DJ, which felt kind of like a joke to me. Like, well, I'm going to pick one of the things that I think is fun.
Yeah.
And like, kind of being like a bitch about it or whatever. And they're all like, in the after show, they're like, and now he is DJing or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, he's like at Loverboy meet and greets. Like that's not like him pursuing a DJ career. That's like them promoting the brand. And they're like, and Kyle's playing music. I'm like, I don't see the issue.
They're just trying to make it like it's really lame. Like DJing is lame and like, right? Like that's what they're saying. But they're
like, well, he has the time to do that. And I'm like, yeah, but it's
Oh.
all under the umbrella of Loverboy.
Oh, I didn't even see that they were chastising him
They
for
like
like
kept
it's
bringing it up as
Oh.
if it was like he's pursuing his other dream. And I'm like, no, like,
yeah.
what?
I think that Kyle should have explained a little more, and he couldn't because it wasn't a fruitful conversation, like you said.
Yeah.
He should have just explained, like, I want Amanda to possibly have a swimsuit line if she wants, but Loverboy is tanking right now, and if she doesn't put in any more work, I'm scared that it will completely flounder.
Right. I
That's-
mean, I don't know if we already covered this ground, but the main flaw in what he's saying is that he is saying both that the business will fail without her and
That she doesn't
that
do
she's
anything.
a worthless employee.
Yeah.
So I'm like, which is it? Is it also that you can't afford to pay someone to do her job? Like she's willing to take like less of a salary because she owns part of the business.
A little
Whereas
bit of
you would have to pay someone like $200K a year salary with health insurance and 401K and shit to do her job.
Yeah, it could be that. And then also underrated is Amanda being the face of Loverboy as a public figure.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he gets a lot of revenue from her doing all of those events
Yeah.
with him. And
If it was boys only, people would like boycott.
yeah, like he needs Amanda there. I don't know.
Like even there, did you see they did a partner post of something about her?
Yeah.
Like cheersing Loverboy or whatever, and so many of the comments were like, look what happens when you let women pursue their passions. I was like, oh god.
Was that the passion was something about her.
Yeah.
The feeling when women get to pursue their passions, it said?
Yeah. I also saw multiple comments accusing him of having a clip-in mullet because he had a mullet in the photo, and I was like, why don't you get it through your brain that he took that photo 2 weeks ago, like before the reunion when he was in LA?
Wait, when did he have a clip-on mullet?
They posted a photo today at something about
Was he
her.
there?
I think that they visited before it was open,
And then
he
they-
had a mullet at the time, and people think that because they posted it today that he put
They
a
ca-
fake mullet on.
Oh, they can't imagine a world where this happened before today?
They were like, not the clip-on mullet. I was like, what are you fucking talking about?
What
I
if
need
you-
to get offline.
What if you looked at Instagram and I had commented that? Not the clip-on mullet. I also need to get offline because I don't want people's perspective to color my commentary at
Yeah,
all. And I
I
can't
know.
see stuff like that.
I know, I'm starting to get pissed all the time.
Okay. What did we do the Kyle storyline justice?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
I
well,
mean,
we didn't.
He comes outside after the fight and he cries again.
Yes.
Um,
Now, can I say be a stinker?
Yeah.
Anti-Kyle?
Yeah.
I thought there was some merit to Paige and Sierra's askance view of him manipulatively crying. I know he's been crying a lot, but I did think he might have been using that to get out of the very bad drunken things he said and gain sympathy from Amanda,
Yeah.
because it was kind of a get out of jail free card when he was crying out there.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think his crying was,
I know what you mean.
but you felt it was true
But I also
tears?
felt like it was wild that he essentially cried multiple times over the course of 12 hours.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of wild to cry at night when you're drunk and then wake up in the
Yeah.
morning and then cry again.
I've never seen him cry that much. I mean,
No.
I haven't, I watched it all, but I don't remember. I know he's cried in the past and he's fully open and fine with crying, but like he cried a lot this
I
episode.
know, that's why it made me be like, I think he's really like having a hard time.
He did say something about the $4 million loan hanging over his head in the after show. And then he goes, that's why I hit my fist on the table and said, I'm thinking about, what is that
I've
quote?
got a little more going on. I love that moment.
Me too. So
And they all treated him like he was a psycho back then too.
if I had a $4 million loan on my head and I didn't think I could pay it back, I would also be crying every minute that you saw me around the house.
Yeah, I get it. I get why he's stressed. It's just he needs to. It feels like both couples are like really not communicating, and it's hard to watch
Yeah.
because you're like, no, just
Yeah.
slow the fuck down, stop it, and like get clear on what you're trying to say, because you're
Yes.
just watching them miss each other and it's really annoying.
And you could put Jackson Brittany in there as well.
Exactly.
If Kyle had not been drunk when Amanda said
Yeah.
this, instigated this new storyline or thought, this might have stopped Kyle from, getting so upset, because he would have heard her in a rational state of mind and understood more of what she was saying. He just took it so personally when he was drunk.
Right. I know. I was also when Paige and Sierra were just like screaming at one point when he started going upstairs, and they were just like ranting to no one, basically. Paige was like, let her drink Coronas in a bikini and like start a business and fail. I was like, what? Like, I was
Yeah.
like, why does she get to do that?
Right. I think that Paige was just adding some more like humorous commentary into the world, towards the end of that.
I'd be like, over my dead body.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so we talked about, do you want to just, as our last thing with the last 7 minutes we have, just talk about West and Sierra post horse?
Yeah.
Right? Is
Yeah,
that
because
would
at
be
the
good.
beginning she's stoked about this date. She says
says-
it's spot on. She's thrilled about it. And he's like, I would take you home for Thanksgiving if it were tomorrow. And she's like he's like, like we've been on a great, situation this summer, but we should like go somewhere. And she's like, okay, but what's the objective? Which this is where, so like the internet has turned on him and says he's a fuckboy, and like in the after show they're saying he's a fuckboy and like a jokester or whatever. And I'm like, she has given him mixed signals, in my opinion, this whole time. Like, he's been very down to clown, and now he's starting to, I think, the thing is, I feel like he's being very honest and like ultimately vulnerable by saying that he has appreciated his like allowance to be selfish and do whatever he wanted. And he said, a lot of the times in relationships I get freaked out at a certain point. I'm like, that's a vulnerability. Like, that's something, just keep talking. Say like, and why do you think that happens to you? Like, do you think that like we could get past that together? Like, would you want to try with me? Like, they're just like both too scared.
Yeah, like Sierra maybe could have been like, I know you've never taken this leap, so let's navigate this together.
Right, because they're both just bitching out.
One thing that I was shocked, though, by is that I did sort of assume, I don't know why I assumed, maybe that made me, that phrase, but an ass, but I thought that West wanted to date Sierra.
I think he does.
Right.
He goes, well, I mean, I don't think you would want to date tomorrow. And she's like, no.
Yeah, but so I was
they're talking about the idea of dating, and I'm like, why don't you just fucking date?
Yeah, they've added a layer of scrutiny to this conversation that I think a lot of people would just take for granted and just go forward and let
hang out, have sex, travel, and
Halloween.
You're dating.
Yeah, Halloween party, and then you do the ceremonial
Guess
cutting.
what? You're dating.
Yeah, and then cut off all the X's at some point when it gets serious. I think that because it is a plot-based show and we care about conflict, they're really making a lot of every stage of this relationship and thinking about it a little too.
They're like ruining it.
Yeah, it's like it's being ruined because of the microscope and talking it to death. So that's kind of what it is. It's like Wes is like, I've never been in this stage. Sierra, and then he goes, he says something which I do think is indicative of not immaturity, but classic guy code for I don't want to have an exclusive girlfriend, which is that I want to get my shit together first.
Right.
When he said that, I was just like,
especially because he already got a job.
I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but people become boyfriend and girlfriend, exclusive boyfriend and girlfriend in
high
any
school.
stage of life. There's absolutely nothing that you need to get in order to graduate to girlfriend and boyfriend. And I think that is what took her aback. She was like, wait, I'm sorry. I thought you wanted a relationship and like we'll navigate the sex part of it, but now you're saying there's a hurdle that you need to overcome before, you know what I mean?
It's just annoying that neither of them will just take the leap, because I feel like if one did, the other would follow.
It's very apparent to me that Sierra is on the road to loving West.
Mhm.
And
Well, she
once,
said she didn't want to hop into bed with him because she would catch feelings.
yeah, and that's code for they're both being very vague, which it kind of was great because it's like a real conversation people have because no one says perfectly what they're feeling.
Yeah.
But she's saying, if we start to have sex, I'm going to fall in love with you. And if you're going to be a fuck boy like Austin and kick me to the curb after we have sex 6 times, I'm going to feel like shit and feel like I was just disrespected, just like I was with Austin.
Yeah.
So please let me know, is there a future, a Thanksgiving horse riding future post us fucking 6 times?
Yeah.
You know what that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's kind of just like hard to watch because it's like a slow motion car crash where you're like, no.
I think it's a slow motion bus ride to fun in a relationship.
You think that they're going to get their shit together?
I think we're entering the seed of doubt territory where everyone's trying to make us think that
The
Sierra Leslie.
rom-com era where it's like not seemingly not going to work.
End of the second act,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Is that when it is in a rom-com?
Yeah, sounds right.
They always have to have it where things are at their lowest moment for the couple.
And they're even the fact that they're together on their way home from their date when they get the call from Jesse, I'm like, what could bond you more than that?
And they're both so sweet about Jesse. We shouldn't stop talking about what Jesse's going through, the most real shit you can ever deal with. Everyone can be crying about Loverboy and doing all this other stuff, but Jesse and his mom are dealing with the worst thing you could ever deal with in life.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, their meeting was very sweet.
so sweet. He says, my mom acts strong for me, but she is so anxious she can't sleep at night. Like, this is, I mean, there's just nothing worse. There's nothing worse than what they're going through. And he has the ultrasound. They don't get conclusive results. He has to wait. And so when he gives them the call, Jesse and Sierra think that they're getting the call that like it's all clear. And he's like, no, we have to wait a few days. And then Bravo, which I don't know. I do not respect them teasing this as a storyline. I feel like they should have put the card up at the end and said Jesse got his results 3 hours later and he's in the clear. It's like, do not make a Bravo drama about what he's going through, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I do not like it. I don't like that we have to wait a
it's
week.
mostly weird because of the like watch what happens and like the after show and stuff where there's multiple periods where they have to reflect on the show, whereas if you were only watching the show week to week, you would just be watching the story play out. Like that would be okay if like we just had to wait till next week for him to get the phone call because we're watching his life in real time. But it's like with the commentary, it makes it kind of weird.
I guess I just wish they would let us off the emotional hook on this one because it's really not the Bravo wheelhouse to be centered around someone possibly dying of cancer. For me, I think, and that may say more about me.
It's stressing you out.
It's stressing me out, and I assume he's in good health. I don't know how he could do that. Watch What Happens Live and like be fun and silly. I hope.
I mean, he posted today a photo of him with a Loverboy saying he loves Amanda's cans.
So he's doing good.
I think he's doing good. But
good.
Next week is when we get the Carl and Lindsay zombie argument. And then I think there was a little bit of Sierra talking shit about West, I think.
Oh no.
So we're reaching there's only 2 more episodes?
I think so. I think we're in the final stretch of Summer House. It's still so good.
One more.
Is there only one more?
Because we're seeing the finale next week, right?
Oh my god, because we're going to the Bravo, what's that called? Bravo, not BravoCon.
Yeah.
Bravo After Dark.
Yeah,
watch
because
party?
we love you guys. We spent, $70 a piece
to
go see this goddamn finale 2 days early.
Wait, but I feel like they would have said next week on the finale. Okay,
but we're seeing the finale next week.
All right, okay, you're right. Okay, so we're gonna see the finale. I think Summer House is still so like great, and I feel bad that it gets short shrifted in our schedule. But I actually felt like we gave Summer House the full merit for 35 minutes or whatever we did. Like that, we honored Summer House properly.
I think so. But yeah, let us know if what version you get fired up for. I'll try not to get pissed if you are a Lindsay stan.
Oh, you're saying in this conversation, we did have a very brave Villa Rosa VIP. I saw this who said, guys, I don't know how to say this, but I am burgeoning on becoming Team Lindsay, and
Yeah.
I think it's.
At
I
this
can
point,
now,
it's like a free-for-all.
I can accept that world.
Yeah.
It's like it's not how it was before when it was Cocaine Carl era. So
Yeah.
let's end
He blew
emphatic.
it.
For Amy to say Carl
I'm
blew it,
pissed.
he blew a clear, he had a clear win there, and he really muddied the waters. So let us know, Team Carl, Team Lindsay. It's kind of, I don't know where everybody
Team,
lies.
Thank God they're not married, period.
Which everyone is that.
Yeah.
And then let's just wrap up this Turtle Time episode, which I think was overall pretty good. Do you
Yeah.
think it was good?
It was good. This is maybe top 5 longest.
Oh yeah. We've gone over 3 hours, but this is this is in the top 10 for sure. Longest. So would you ever promote the end of the episode chatter that we do?
Sure. We mention it constantly, but we are recapping old seasons of Vanderpump on Patreon. We're on season 4. Jax just got arrested. It's a great time over there. We do 1 episode per week, so you get 4 extra a month. Also, if you like hearing us, but you would like to watch us, you can watch every episode on YouTube. And then, I don't know, what else do we got?
Well, okay. I will say we've been doing Patreon for so long, but we're really hitting a good era here in season 4 towards the end. I felt like we recorded 2 episodes the other day, and I felt like we were firing on all cylinders.
Stassi's back.
Stassi is back. That has been great. And also, we are getting new Villa Rosa VIPs in there. So I just want to say, new Villa Rosa VIPs, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the experience of Amy and I recapping Vanderpump Rules, because I feel like it's exactly the same as this, except maybe a little more carefree and freewheeling a little bit, right?
Yeah, and the Patreon page, the comments on there are a blast. Also, we just released new merch, so you can get a West Wilson t-shirt, a Stassi t-shirt. I'm wearing my Kristen Doty t-shirt. You're wearing your I'd rather be taking a certified turtle piss break t-shirt. You're wearing a Turtle Time hat. There's all kinds of fun shit on there. Check it out.
There really is. And then lastly, I'll just say this. I never say it. But if you like the Turtle Time experience, and there's a lot of new little turtles that are peeking their little heads out of their shells to join Turtle Time. I mean, you've seen some of the uptick. And if you're new and you say, I like this show, they talk about some stuff that I've never heard people talk about, like Chris Pratt doing Pringles commercials, all the stuff we talked about. If you like it, tell your friends in your life that you love Turtle Time, and also write a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Chartable. There's a bunch of places. Yelp. You could probably put it on Yelp. And I would say, if you hated this episode, we always say this every week, but just, you know what happens when you write a horrible review? You get filled with shame. You don't fully, maybe you regret it completely. I would sit on it for about 3 to 4 weeks.
Say it, forget it, write it, regret it.
If you still harbor so much hatred for Turtle Time because we said something that offended you, why not sit on it for about 4 weeks? See if you still do it. Set a reminder saying, I want to write a hate-filled comment on Turtle Time. Do it a month from now. See if you still feel that way.
Yeah.
And anyway, that's it for Turtle Time. Amy, anything else you want to say?
Let's get out of here.
All right, goodbye. We love you all so much. Go to sleep now, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
This one